Cartoons, the animated frontier. These are the voyages of the Cellcast podcast. Its continuing mission to explore strange new cartoons, to seek out new animation styles and new creative storytelling methods, to boldly go where so few ever go again. Welcome to another episode of The Cellcast. Joining me today is a man who, he loves riding his bicycle, or motor bicycle. Anyway, welcome, Jacob.
Well, I do feel the need for speed.
Well, there is that.
Why, thank you, and let me introduce our co-host, a man who apparently stole my line. He just needs a new ride. Welcome, Drew.
I did not realize I stole your line.
Hey, minds think alike.
I will actually agree with that. So we actually have some guests on for this episode. Jacob, why don't you introduce our first one?
All right, our first co-host. Welcome, the man who just needs to harness his psychic abilities. Welcome from the Retro Rewind podcast, Captain Francisco of the USS Pod. Francisco!
This is a Retro Rewind pod, but thank you so much, Drew and Jacob. Glad to be here.
And also joining us, his second in command, the master interrupter himself, PaulJPowers.com.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm sure you invited me on because, I've been outside this country a little. I've been to Mexico and Canada and even Japan.
Ooh.
And now you invited me to comment on this movie, a Japanese movie about Canada.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Believe me, the fact that the guy's name is Canada is not gotten past my
Canada. Jeez, guys.
Canada.
Tomato.
Oh my gosh.
Canada, what?
Mexico, Mexico.
One of those.
Team smote you.
Exactly.
Team Womp, whatever.
No, not whatever.
Team Stitch.
Japan, Nippon. It's all the same. Anyway. Jacob, why don't you start the interrogation?
Yes.
Okay, so interrogation. All right. So, for Captain Francisco,
Yes.
Who is your favorite Disney princess?
Oh, that's interesting since I really dislike Disney, like a lot.
I suspect that's why that question was chosen for you.
Exactly.
I guess probably I would go with Moana. I really like Moana.
Oh, nice.
fair.
Yeah.
Wait, Moana is a tribe.
It's princess. It's a princess equivalent.
She technically is a princess.
Yeah, I thought
of
so.
a chief, not a
Of a
king,
chief.
but okay. I'll allow it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
mean,
didn't know you were the arbiter of that, Paul.
Well, based on our definition, which is she either has to be a member of the royal family, marry into it, and that can be either the ruling family, as well. So it's technically
Yes.
the only quote unquote Disney princess that's not a Disney princess is Mulan, because she's not in the royal family and she doesn't marry into it.
Ah, okay.
Technically. But anyway.
All right, so I have a really hard question for the both of you.
Ooh.
What was the first animated movie you saw in theaters
I
from
have
living
no
memory?
clue.
Okay.
I've been going to the theater since before I can remember, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's
what
see.
in
First
in
one you
living
remember.
memory?
What did I see last week? I don't know.
Earliest memory.
Maybe 101 Dalmatians on one of their releases. I don't know. I did see The Rescuers on the one that came out with Mickey's Christmas Carol.
Ah.
Let me think. So I imagine it was one of the ones before Little Mermaid. But Little Mermaid is the one that's sticking out. I know that was 89,
So
right?
before Little Mermaid, you had Great Mouse Detective.
Oh, then Great Mouse Detective.
And then is Black Cauldron right before Great Mouse?
See,
Just after.
No, it's Oliver and Company.
Oliver and Company. That's
it
right.
must have
What
been
should I
Oliver.
wear?
It must have been Oliver and Company, though.
Yeah,
All
good
right.
movie. We actually reviewed it. What was that, last year?
Yeah, I think it was last year.
Yeah, good movie.
We did a lot of 80s Disney last year.
Yeah.
Not
a decade of
intentionally,
Disney movies
but-
I had never seen before.
Yeah, those were fun. People should go back and re-listen to those.
Indeed.
Mhm.
Any more in the interrogation?
Yes. All right. So, what? Say what?
Oh,
I said, what?
See,
is your favorite
Dare
color?
you, Paul.
Paul, I was being nice. I was being very nice.
Paul. No, but what was
For our listeners who don't know, sorry, Francisco doesn't like Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Okay.
It's not a
So
movie.
that was a dig against.
In fact, how about we just table the whole Akira discussion and just talk about how Monty Python and the Holy Grail is not a movie.
Well, while there is animation of a sort in Monty Python.
Okay, I'll be
that's
completely
not
out of
what
this
we're
subject
going
because
to.
I haven't seen the movie. I've only seen it once.
It's animation of a sort.
Yeah,
I'm surprised you want to spend the whole time talking about this movie. You must really like it.
No, I just need to get I need to get it out there. How poor of a slap.
Yeah, you do like it.
Oh my gosh, I do not like it.
You like to talk about it.
You bring it up all the time.
I do not. Other people do, aka the favorite color thing.
And you just can't let it go. Let it go.
It's like it's frozen in your memory or something.
Hey, who booked me for this? Who booked me for this?
You booked yourself. You asked, hey, what episodes could we come on at an event later time? And I said, well, we're planning on doing Akira. He says, I'll be there for that.
We're doing Akira, a.k.a. a torture chamber for Francisco.
Who wants to change it to Monty Python and the Holy Grail for some reason? Because he loves it so much.
I was unaware you weren't a fan, Francisco. Anyways,
let's clear the air. Let's breathe a little bit. Let it go. And what was the cartoon when you were growing up that blew you away and like you still visit to this day as a kid, as an adult, I'd say.
So not like an animated movie, but an actual cartoon that was like on
a cartoon
on the TV.
Yes.
Yeah, Voltron. Those we talked about it earlier. But it was syndicated at the time growing up, and it was on at the same time as He-Man, and I had to choose between that and He-Man, and it was frustrating. But a lot of I thought the whole idea of exploring space. He-Man was in space, but he was stuck on the planet. But he had these space explorers and going these robot lions. That was a little more to me.
Got it. For me, it's tough. I don't go back to I don't revisit like whole series very often. I'll like hit one episode every so often, like especially if I want to share something with my daughter or my son. Like recently, I shared the two-parter Clayface episodes of Batman the Animated Series with my son.
Oh, good one.
Because that's like my favorite Batman the Animated Series villain.
Feet of Clay?
I think it's Feet of Clay or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he might even be my favorite Batman villain. Period. But I just want to share that with him. I also would watch some DuckTales whenever my kids were watching that. So it really depends. I don't know if I have one. I'd like to revisit Voltron, but the last time I remember trying to revisit Voltron, I was like, I don't really like this as much as I remember. Yeah.
Admittedly, sometimes things don't age as well as we'd like them to.
Yeah. Agree.
But so I don't have a one, unfortunately.
Okay. So what was your... Go ahead.
I was going to say, if you want me to list a bunch that I've seen recently, I could do that, but there isn't a one.
All right, that is a good question. What is your most recent animated TV series, anime or American or what have you, series that you've recently watched that you recommend to others?
I have an answer for this, but Paul, would you like to go?
No, because I don't.
I'm too busy thinking of sick Monty Python burns and frozen burns for you, Francisco. Sorry.
Hey, you bring it up again. My point right here.
I'm not sure if I want to keep these for bloopers or just leave them in the show.
Recently, me and my two kids have really gotten into Troll Hunters on Netflix, which is
that's good.
Guillermo del Toro creation. And apparently, I'm not quite sure, but there's I think 2 other shows that are like spin-offs or continuations. I don't know yet, but I've been wanting to see Troll Hunters for a while, and I only I just sort of saw it come up on Netflix again as a possible thing you might be interested in. So I played like the trailer, or whatever. And the thing that got me like, oh, now I have to watch this is hearing the wonderful tenor of the one and only Kelsey Grammer. I'm like, he's in this? Oh man, I gotta watch it now.
Yeah, he is in that.
Yeah, so I very much so I started watching that with my kids, and we're all like really interested. We've gone through, I think, halfway through the first season so far. So we're enjoying Troll Hunter.
You know what? Speaking of older cartoons,
It's not that
one
old.
No, the original question going back before.
Okay.
Yeah. Originally.
Oh,
Yes,
sorry.
yes.
I'm a time traveler. It all mixes up in my head. Anyway,
It happens. It happens.
I'm currently going through the Mighty Orbots. That was an 80s anime that came out. The animation in it is spectacular. It's one of those where the story just puts you to sleep. But even by today's standards, the animation is just top notch. I wish more, and it's an animated TV series. I wish more animated film and TV series could follow this kind of 2D animation. So check out a clip on YouTube, Mighty Orbot.
Yeah.
Mighty Orbots.
I've heard Mighty Orbots just because it got so lost in the melee of the 1980s. He-Man, Thundercats, G.I. Joe, Transformers, that Turtles, the whole enchilada. And I've only heard of the Mighty GoBots like watching like YouTubers reviews of them. So that's the only way I ever heard of them.
Yeah, that's how I heard of it too. But it's Orbots, not GoBots.
I was going to say, are those the
Orbots.
same or are they different? Okay.
No, they're different.
Okay, that's what I thought.
GoBots is the knockoff of Transformers.
That's what I
That is
thought.
true.
Okay.
That is
Well,
now
technically-
ironically owned by Hasbro.
GoBots became before Transformers, but it became Transformers became popular in the States before GoBots.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
There's deep dives on the internet for all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, there is.
The
indeed.
Toy Galaxy. I'm sure they have that.
Yes, they do. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let me.
So that's when you're revisiting, Paul, is the Mighty Orbots?
Yeah, I'm in the middle.
Oh,
Like
okay.
I'm on episode 3 right now. There's only 13 of that.
Okay.
So
Okay.
So you're hating the story
Cool.
but loving the animation.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the trailer or something, or the intro, and it looks like I could see the quality. And the big robot looks very familiar. So I imagine I caught some of this at some point, but I don't remember.
All right. So a very often question we do with guests: if you were stuck on a desert island, you had provisions, you had everything you need, but you're lacking entertainment, like.
You mean Francisco's not there to bug?
No,
Unfortunately, the internet doesn't work.
Okay. The Play the Leavenfield. You have no Disney films. You have no Monty Python.
Okay.
All right. So
This does sound like paradise.
So Paul. Sorry,
John.
John. I don't know why you call me John. I
That's what the J
apologize.
stands for. So good job.
Oh wow, I'm
Sherlock.
correct.
good
Wow.
job.
Okay, Paul. So it's you and Francisco on an island. You have no Disney films. You have no Monty Python.
Yeah.
Monty Python, anything. And so you have a television. You have everything you need. What would you choose to watch? This is the only thing you watch until you get rescued for like 6 weeks. What do you watch that is either A, going to be entertaining, or torture, one or the other?
Like, we only get to pick one between the two of us, or we each get to pick one?
No, you each get one.
Oh, okay.
You
Or
each get one.
okay.
better yet, be like both of you get to choose one,
What
and
is
just
that?
like, are you going to play off each other, or are you going to entertain each other?
I'm going to entertain
Yeah, I was gonna
each
say
other, and I
entertain,
would want to pick a long series that would hopefully last 6 weeks. So I would put on Friends
Friends. Oh, there you go.
Friends.
Ah,
Okay.
nice.
Okay.
because we enjoyed
Yeah,
that.
we did. I think I'm gonna put on
Seinfeld.
Voltron
Oh.
Legendary
Oh, gosh.
Defender, just because
Okay.
we haven't finished that.
Nice.
Like, me and Paul both got to like around the same part where we like stopped watching for no good reason, so that we could finally just finish that.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You're talking about the new
yes,
one, right?
the Netflix
Yes.
one, yes.
Okay.
Which I hear most people say it doesn't end well, but I gotta see for myself.
Fair enough.
Hmm.
I hadn't watched far enough to know. So
All right. So
You
Francis,
either. Okay, good.
You can join us.
I've seen like 4 episodes. I'm behind.
It's pretty
as
good.
always.
It's pretty good. All right. So my last question, it goes to Captain Francisco. All right. So knowing that you do not like Disney, of all the Disney films you have seen, what was the one you enjoyed the most?
I really like The Rock. Maybe I'll go with The Rock.
The Rock.
That's Touchstone.
Yeah. They're owned by
which
Disney.
is owned by Disney.
Let's say by that definition.
Star Wars.
Walt
is good.
Disney Animation.
Oh.
Yes.
Now
There we go.
now you constrict
There's
me.
the Bing hammer.
Any of the animated Disney films.
Okay.
Thank
be
you.
they Disney,
I walked
Pixar,
right into that one.
We'll even let you throw in Blue Sky for some reason.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. My favorite of them? That is the question?
Yes. Yeah, just one.
Oh gosh. That's tricky. I'm waiting like the music, the animation, the story, all these sort of factors, rewatchability. I think what I'm gonna
Does Mary Poppins or no?
That's a good
That's-
one. That I won't count
That is
that
a hybrid.
though, because I think they're looking
Yeah,
for
it's-
strictly in like fully
Okay.
animated.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm gonna just talk this out. I'm gonna narrow it down between Moana,
All right.
Aladdin, and
Everyone have an hour to
Beauty and the
kill?
Beast. It's not like I'm playing Earthbound right now.
Yeah.
Moana, not Earthbound. Moana, Beauty and the Beast, and Aladdin. Oh no, Hunchback of Notre Dame.
And he's not a princess.
Okay, so let me eliminate these. I've only seen Hunchback one time, so I don't know how rewatchable it is. So I'm going to knock that out. Moana is very rewatchable. Aladdin's rewatchable, and Beauty and the Beast is rewatchable. I haven't seen Beauty and the Beast in a while though, so I don't know personally if it holds up. So I'm gonna.
It does.
Well, yeah,
does.
for you guys, it might not for me. You're asking,
That's okay.
is this question directed toward Drew? Did I miss something about this context? No, this is my time right now.
Is Ashley still in the chat?
I like how Paul has fallen asleep.
Slow and boring. Let me play your slow and boring clip, Paul.
Yeah, you said it.
So between so I'm gonna knock off Beauty and the Beast. Between Aladdin and Moana, I think I'm gonna go with Aladdin. It's hard to beat Robin
Okay.
Williams. I really like that story. I wish
He's a liar.
I wish he would have told Jasmine the truth ahead of time and just freed the genie, but then you wouldn't have any drama. So
Yeah.
Yes.
You wouldn't have a story.
exactly. So
Yeah, we actually just did review a movie that's very similar that actually came out like 3 years earlier?
Yeah, and it's amazing how much the genies are alike.
Exactly. That would be
yeah,
yeah.
Shibui,
Yeah.
yeah, Shibui!
Shibui!
DuckTales and the
Yeah,
Treasure
exactly.
of the Lost Lamp.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Quacker Rooney.
Yeah, exactly. Where's me money?
Anywho,
Yeah, so that is the end of the aka the torture round.
apparently.
Do we guys get to torture you guys now? Do we have a torture round for you guys?
I thought our presence was torture enough.
No, y'all aren't torturous at all. We had fun.
I don't see why or not you can ask us like one or two questions.
Yeah, just one or two.
Okay. My question for you guys is, if you have so I'm taking inspiration from Paul's background and your guys' background. If you have Shrek versus Stitch, who wins that fight?
Stitch.
Stitch,
Why?
because he's Stitch.
He's
And
Stitch.
Shrek. That
He's-
is not an argument.
No.
Shrek would
Okay.
just say, "Get off my
Okay.
swamp." That's it.
Here's the within universe. One, Stitch is invulnerable. He's completely invulnerable. He's completely indestructible. You can't destroy him with bullets. You can't destroy him with anything except like he gets shorted or something like that in one of the other movies. But Shrek is strictly an ogre from the swamp.
Okay.
Yeah.
He has
all he
he's-
has is plot armor.
Yeah,
okay.
that's all
When
he
you
is.
When you
Plot
take
armor.
the plot
That's it.
armor away,
And plus, Stitch's best alien ever.
What?
Better than.
Oh, there you go. Who wins, Stitch versus Superman?
Stitch.
Oh my god.
I was about to say they have Stitch right here. They don't have Superman or Shrek anywhere. Of
Whatever,
course it's
guys.
Stitch.
Now, right off stage, I do have another alien here.
Oh,
There you
Groot.
go.
A
Nice.
little Groot action.
Well, there's my question. Paul, do you have one?
Yeah, since you review animation, the Cell cast, what is your
Uh-huh.
favorite animated movie?
Oh, good night.
Oh, easy.
Kingdom Hearts.
For me,
I swear to say Lilo and Stitch.
if there was a Kingdom Hearts movie, it would probably be Drew's in a heartbeat.
No,
maybe,
not necessarily,
maybe.
because I do actually have problems with the story as a whole. That doesn't mean I'm not in love
Okay.
with it.
For
a
me
bit
personally,
Sure.
It's a little.
for me personally, it's going to be Tangled. I love Tangled.
Tangled's good.
I'm
Yeah, I knew that one.
I'm kind of torn between Tangled and then Your Name. Like Your Name's an amazing story.
yeah.
They both have amazing
PaulJPowers.com.
stories.
So go visit them.
Hey.
No, but have you guys? I know you haven't released it yet, but have you finished watching the Tangled series?
No.
No,
Okay.
we're about. We stopped when I said we are a season difference between what we've recorded
Yes,
and what we've
right.
released. Give me time to catch up.
Okay.
And just to say, be like, we are so close to the ending of season 2. Be like, ah!
Yeah, and he's having to hold up.
Yes. I'm literally to hold my tongue back. It's like, just
Anyway,
yes.
no, we will get that release. We've got like 3 episodes left of season 1, but the plan is just we hadn't said this out loud yet, but I'll go ahead and say it here. Our plan is to get those 3 out, and then on starting the week of November 11th, we've got both Star Trek Lower Decks season 2 and What If coming out, which we both want to review those. So we're going to take a break, do those series, and then come back to see.
Okay.
That's the plan.
What year are you coming back to season 2?
Funny.
Probably after I finish
soon as
Earthbound.
Yes.
Probably then.
Yeah.
At the rate of release, yeah. And you're what, halfway through that
I
game?
think so, yes.
No,
Halfway.
did
That's
you
what
get the
people have
halfway
told
mark?
me, that I'm about halfway,
Okay.
yes.
All I know is there's still a playable character missing.
Yeah, oh yeah, there is. Apologies, by the way, to everyone who watches Cellcast that has no idea what we're talking about with Earthbound. I play it on my live
please,
streams.
I raid y'all every time.
I
I'm
guess
sure
that's
they
a good
know,
point.
most of them know about you
Yeah.
at this point. So anyway, that's
That's it of
all
the torture
that's all
session.
the interrogation. So a very quick what we've been watching, Jacob.
Yeah.
No, sorry. Guess first.
Yeah.
Paul,
What have you been
you
watching?
go first.
The Mighty Orbots.
Mighty
that is a very
Autobots.
quick one. Is that it?
I just finished Loki.
Oh.
I did too.
I still need to watch Loki. I have it downloaded
Yeah, you do.
my huh?
Yeah, you do. You need to watch it before we can start What If.
That is true. What is that, next week or
The week of November 11th.
November
right?
11th?
It's
Oh, I got plenty
there's
of time.
a day November. August 11th.
Oh, never mind.
I can't even.
I thought I was the one who got twisted and
I
confused.
just get dates confused, okay?
Yeah. Okay. Well, never mind. then.
Anyway,
November 5th, 1955. It's a
Yeah.
Time travel.
anywho.
You want
Great Scott!
Francisco, what have you been watching?
So I just finished the Netflix series Dark. It's a 3-season series. It's German. It is dark.
Yeah.
There's unfortunately 2. So I don't have I had never watched Game of Thrones. So in terms of sexualized nudity, I don't know how it compares to that. I know what I've heard is that has a lot. This has too much of it, in my opinion. It seems. Well, I'm not going to get on a tangent.
How can you tell? It's not that dark.
It's thematically dark there, and there's lots of dark stuff. There was one moment where I was like, "Don't do this," or I'm going to check out because I have some limits for what I can take content wise. But it didn't go there,
Right.
fortunately. But it was like usually when scenes like that come on, I look away and I'm just like waiting. And fortunately, for the most part, in this it was music. But sometimes it's like one time there are characters talking, and I watch it subbed. So what do you have to do when you're watching something subtitled? You have to look at the screen.
You read and watch at the same time.
So it's like, I was like doing one of these things.
Yeah, you're doing this number the entire time.
Yeah.
It's an important plot point. I know.
It could have been.
I just don't want to see what they're showing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for those that are curious, Dark is there's lots of twists and turns to it. It's like it's not Back to the Future. They reference Back to the Future, which is funny, but it's a time travel movie with lots of like time slips, time loops, and figuring out. And the casting in it for like young and old, they use different actors, but some of it is so spot on. I'm like, are these people related? It's amazing, the casting. Like I can tell who's supposed to be who, though. Whenever someone say someone else's name, I'm like, yeah, who is that? Because with it being German and there's like so many characters, it's hard to keep track of. But by the second season,
Hans and Franz.
yeah, exactly.
Which one's Hans and which one's Franz? I don't know.
But
And don't forget John.
Yeah.
no, there's like
If
Ulrich.
his last name's Gruber.
John!
There's Ulrich, Katharina, Jonas, Mata. Let's see, where are some other ones? Hannah. So it's just interesting hearing it all in German, which was much better than the English dub. I tried the English dub at first, but I'm like, no, I can't. The mismatch between lips and words. I mean, you get when we might be talking about this in Akira, but
Yeah, we probably will.
But with anime, it's easier to forgive. But with like film, it's so
most
hard
anime,
for me to.
With most anime, it's easier to forgive.
Yeah.
So
This one, it's a little. With
Akira's a little
it's like,
different,
whoa,
but,
okay, that's a different animal.
Anyway.
but that's what I've been watching. I recommend it if you are okay with darker content. But if you're not, then probably watch something else. Troll Hunters.
Yes,
There we go.
it's probably a good choice. Jacob?
I
I mean,
Last-
it's only been 2 days since we last
Yes, I agree,
recorded,
but I have
so-
watched something.
Ah,
Toy Story 2.
Oh yeah.
okay.
Yeah, just been like randomly. I'm looking at my shelf because I recently got a new entertainment center or a tower for my movies,
Ooh.
and
In
I put
other
all
words,
my
you're
Blu-rays on it.
In other words, you're 10 times more organized than I am right now.
Yes, maybe just a little bit, but I'm looking at it because my entire top row is all animated Disney movies, all of them. Because there again, I'm a Disney nut.
No kid.
You think?
So we're like opposites, Jacob, is what I'm
Apparently.
Well, except didn't you tell me you don't like Monty Python either?
No, I mean, like, I've watched Monty Python once, and I thought it was weird.
All right, so we have some common.
Well, I mean, you don't like Galaxy Quest, so who cares about your opinion?
Oh,
That's harsh.
I-
Come on, Jacob.
I never said I hated the film. I just
No,
don't
you
like.
just didn't find it funny.
Yeah, I don't find it funny. There again, I have a very odd
Right.
sense of humor.
Totally fair.
That's putting it mildly.
So yes, I watched Toy Story 2, and it's still amazing because the first one just plays in your head constantly over and
Mhm.
over again how great the movie is, and then 2 just ramps it up 11. And then a little bit of trivia about the film: they nearly lost the entire film during production.
And that will definitely come
Oh.
up when we do that review.
like
Yeah,
like a hard drive
eventually.
failure or something like that.
Like somebody hit delete on the server and formatted it.
And the backup was bad.
Well, no, all their backups were bad. The only backup they had was that because one of the assistant director or a head
Yeah.
anime or something,
Yeah,
she
took
had
it
gone.
home.
She took it home so she could work on it while she was pregnant,
Yeah,
and that was the only copy they had that worked.
yeah,
Wow.
And that's why we got Toy Story 2.
Nuts.
exactly. And then they took another decade to do Toy Story 3.
Which I still haven't seen.
We'll get
Maybe
to
in
it.
a decade.
I finally watched it.
We'll get to it.
It's good.
Gotcha. All right.
So yeah, that is all I have been watching in the last 2 days since we recorded last.
Okay.
What about you?
Well, I finished Loki. That's an interesting ending.
Okay.
I'm not
No
going to say
spoilers,
anything
please.
because I don't want to spoil it for you or any of our listeners.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about spoiling it for Francisco because he still hasn't seen Endgame. But I watched that. I haven't got a chance to watch much else because I did actually finish AKIRA yesterday. But I also started a game that I've had in my backlog a while. I've been meaning to get into called Yakuza 0. It's interesting. I'm not used to playing as a gang member in Japan.
So is it like Grand Theft Auto but Japan styled almost?
Except I don't know if the language is that bad yet. I'm only like an hour into the game.
Okay.
But it is that kind of open world style. But this is being the prequel to the whole series. It actually takes place in 1988. So it's interesting seeing all that old style tech and old fashions while you're beating people to a pulp barefisted. And I've also been playing. I meant to mention this last time. Actually, I think I did mention. Did I mention Bravely Default 2 last time? I think I did.
You did.
Okay, then I won't go into that. I already went into that enough as it is. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been watching and playing.
Cool.
All right. Awesome.
So I don't think we got any news in the last
No, we
2
don't have any
days.
news.
So why don't we go ahead?
Nothing's happened? God.
It's been a
Remember-
slow news week.
Yesterday
Not
was
really.
slow, apparently.
All right.
So why don't we go ahead and jump into our spoiler-free thoughts on Akira?
Okay.
Yeah.
Francisco, why don't we go with you first?
Okay. So something that I just liked about it that's not spoilery.
Just general thoughts
Oh,
that
yeah.
don't spoil anything.
So it was animated. It was animated in the 80s. Japanese. Cool bike. No,
It's based on a manga series.
based on manga series. So we've covered this on our podcast. We usually do focus on anime during the month of May. It's our anime season. And I remember fondly, that was maybe the first time I'd seen it for that. And I've been wanting to rewatch it again. So I was really excited that you guys, when I heard you guys were doing it, I was like, yeah, please have us on. I didn't know I was going to be lambasted with other references. I won't say, Paul, but
Too late. You're thinking.
We bash because we care.
Interesting how you
And people just give me information to go with.
anyway, I was glad to rewatch it. I have a lot of things to say about in terms of my likes. I guess the main thing I'll say that I like that isn't a spoiler is just the beautiful animation in this. Especially the way like light is cast on things and the explosions, like the way smoke plumes, blood spray is, very violent. There are violent parts, but the way they do it is beautiful in that how they animate
It's
it.
so beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
All that blood is so beautiful.
I can't look away.
At least it's not Evangelion.
That's a lot of orange juice.
That is.
That's a lot of orange juice.
And I like the ending in this better than Evangelion. I thought it made a little bit more sense, but
Debatable, but we'll
all
see.
right, we'll see. So those are my non-spoilery thoughts.
What about you, Paul?
I agree.
Okay, that was easy.
Well then.
I will say, going off of what Francisco said about the animation, I love the light trails. I'm surprised
that's
more
so
people
good.
don't do that.
Yeah, I know.
In other things,
And it seems
but-
like nowadays it shouldn't be that much trouble to just throw that into the computer and have it simulate that. So I don't know.
Oh yeah, it can easily
Yeah.
do it, but I think it would be more like lens flares. People are like, it's too much.
It's a J.J. Abrams film.
You're right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, and you got that whole got to be shown in 3D for some reason still. So
All right,
Oh,
I don't know
that
how
would
well
be
that-
cool. This 3D, if they could do it right.
no, I wouldn't mind seeing that. Yeah, that would be cool.
I saw Lion King in 3D.
That was
didn't
weird.
work. And I don't mean the live action one.
Oh, really?
Although that movie didn't work either. But
I
anyway,
think with that multi-plane camera, it would work. I guess.
except the way it kind of just looks like paper cutouts.
Yeah,
could
pretty
see
much.
That's what it
It's
is.
weird.
I could see
Yeah.
that. Good point.
At least on that one, I kind of wanted to see the Beauty and the Beast one in 3D, but I couldn't get back into town at the time.
Yeah.
This was like 10 years ago. So
well, I could see a charm to that if it looked almost like a pop-up book and it was actually like looking like is popping up, but it sounds like it didn't really look like that.
That
I
sounds
mean-
more
I
like
mean, once
South
you-
Park with the paper cutout.
once you got into it, you didn't notice. Once you got into it, you didn't notice it as much. And at that point, why you're watching it in 3D? So,
Exactly.
Yeah, good point.
but anyway,
Oh, one other thing I'll say that isn't spoilery as I look at my notes, which most of them aren't spoilery. The backgrounds in this, I guess, if it's live action, I think you call them matte paintings, but they're just so intricate and beautiful and wonderful. I think any
Very detailed.
Yeah, I think any of those would work well as like your background to your office, or it'd be a wonderful painting to put up or put on a display or something like that.
all right.
Oh, excellent.
So, you want to go first?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you guys one question when it regards to Akira.
Mhm.
When was the first time you saw Akira?
So for me, like I said, when we covered the podcast, which had been a couple years ago now, I believe.
I saw it in college about 20 years ago.
Mm.
Okay.
Yes, tell us when you first saw
I
it.
was college
Okay.
20 years ago.
So,
Glad to know I'm not the oldest one on this podcast. Of course, I never am, as Jacob's older than I am.
yeah.
But anyway,
So the first time I ever saw Akira was the first time I ever experienced anime.
Oh, really?
at
The
what
first time.
at what
That's an
age?
interesting one to
I
start
think
with.
I was like 8. I think I was like 8, 7
You
Saw
years
the
old.
whole thing.
No, I saw like towards the end of the film, it was on Toonami, and I'm
Okay,
sitting
it was-
there.
I-
I'm sitting there in the.
I
the
swear I don't remember this film ever being on Toonami.
Was
Or-
it edited?
Must have
It
been.
had to have been.
I think it had to be edited.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there at my grandparents' place in Louisiana, and we're just flipping through the channels. We got nothing else to do. My brothers are around me because I have 2 younger brothers, and I flip it on. They're both bored out of their tears. And I'm like, what in the world? It's this blue girl and this guy with spiky hairs talking to her. It's like, what in the world is going on? I had no
Japanese.
idea.
I swear that could be an episode of Dragon Ball Z.
That is true. That is so true. But yeah, that was my first ever experience watching anime. I mean, like, I'd
Interesting.
probably watched something anime like really early on, but I have no recollection of
Mhm.
it. But I remember watching it, and I was like, wow, that is really good animation. This looks creepy as can be.
Mhm.
So I watched a couple of minutes of it, watching explosions and people flying everywhere. It's like, this is weird. So I turned it off. And
Before the amoeba scene?
no, I saw the amoeba and turned it off.
Okay, yeah, that would make me turn it off at that age
The
too.
amoeba?
It's like, so,
What amoeba?
yeah,
scene?
what amoeba scene?
Well, that's spoilery, so
Okay.
we'll move
Oh,
on.
okay.
yeah. The ending climax of this film.
Oh.
So it wasn't until years later People kept talking about Akira. I was like, what in the world is this Akira thing you're talking about? And so they described me, they're like, wait, I saw that when I was a kid. So that means the first thing I ever saw in anime was Akira.
Weird.
I was like,
Nice.
yeah, so that was like, oh, great introduction. It could have been like Sailor Moon or Digimon. No, it'd be Akira.
See, mine was Sailor Moon, followed an hour later by Dragon Ball Z.
Nice.
Toonami!
Mine was this movie called The Enchanted Journey, which I couldn't remember the name of. Then Paul located for me. Awesome friend he was. Which it's these chipmunks that start out in the city and they decide they want to go into the forest, and it's just their journey. But it's I haven't rewatched it yet. It's Japanese animation.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So yeah, like when Drew had mentioned before, like when you do Akira,
Which, by the way, Akira has been on the list since before we started.
right?
It's just when I recognized, wait a minute, Akira takes place in 2019,
Yeah.
a year before the Olympics in Tokyo take place.
Mhm.
And in real life, in 2019 was the year before the actual Tokyo Olympics were supposed to take place.
Right.
We actually intended to do this movie a year ago, but for obvious reasons, we decided to hold off a
Yeah.
year.
Thank you,
Why?
Corona.
You have better things to do?
Well,
No, the stupid COVID
we had to wait
virus.
for World War
We were-
III
we
to
were
happen. Remember that? It said,
we were-
Yeah,
replaced-
with the bomb.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
then- yeah.
Technically, it got replaced on our schedule by Osmosis Joe.
Oh gosh,
Oh.
that movie.
That is a bad
That
movie.
was terrible. Terrible
I remember
movie.
liking that
go-
movie, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
I would just say it didn't age. The show was better.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Oh.
But anyway,
But either way, it'd be like we go to the review. I think I'd watched it later on, and I still didn't understand it whatsoever. And then I finally get it for the review, and I watch it. I watched the entire thing. I'm just like, wow, that is a beautifully animated, gorgeous. I watched the later
the Pioneer dub,
the Pioneer dub.
which is the one we've got all the notes for.
Yes, and I was blown away. I was like, oh my gosh, no wonder this is a classic.
Mhm.
And it's just like blown away by animation, story. Some of the, it was like, and then some of it was like, huh? Who is Akira? What does Akira have to do with anything in this movie? And we'll get to that in a later.
You'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out later.
He was
But-
the random bird in the background of scene 52.
Yeah, there we go. He was that bluebird.
I thought he was a sled, but that's
I was going with the fact that the word
Wow.
Akira actually means bird in Japanese, I
Oh,
think.
okay.
So,
But
anyway,
but either
random
way,
trivia I know.
vintage.
Well, I had to find out why Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball, called his studio Bird Studio. So,
Oh.
that's why.
So yeah, like this would, I think this is my second full viewing of the film, and it's really good. I
Now-
enjoy. Go ahead.
You said you watched the Pioneer version. Now I have two different dubs of it, and
Yeah.
one
the
is obviously
The
more
Pioneer
recent than the
yeah,
other.
the Pioneer dub is the 2001 version. The
Okay.
Streamline is the 80 something,
89.
89, I think.
Okay, good. Then I watched the Pioneer one. Well, I'll say I
If
started
you heard
watching
Johnny,
one,
if you heard Johnny Young Bosch, you
I don't
heard
know
the
who
right
that
one.
is. I just know
Kaneda.
I went back and forth between the two until I noticed a difference. Like one had a lot more voices in the background, and one like synced up a little bit better. So I watched it in that. So that
That
I
is
would
the
assume
better of the.
Pioneer one.
If you're gonna watch the dub, that is the better of the two.
yeah, I agree.
Not that I knew that 7 years ago when I first watched this movie, because I actually watched the Streamline dub way back in the day when I first saw this, and I remember going, I don't know what is happening in this movie.
Wow.
I don't.
Welcome to the club, pal.
I don't know what's going on. Why? And the thing is, what messed with me is I actually thought there was something wrong with my disc because there's a couple scenes where their mouths are moving but they're not talking, and there's no sound.
Oh, weird.
And with the Streamline dub, because the audio was just out of sync enough, I was
Okay.
afraid there was something much more wrong until I remember in that time I switched audio tracks to make sure, and it was doing the same thing. So I was like, okay, maybe this is supposed to happen. But that was like 7 or 8 years ago, and I remember thinking this is a strange, weird movie. And Sorry, go
I
ahead.
watch all my movies now, regardless if it's Japanese, United States, or whatever, all on subtitles, even if it's in English.
I do
Just
as well.
so I know what's going on.
I do that as well, although with this one, I think it's dub titled, where the dub subtitle, I don't remember if it's the subtitles are matching the dub, or if it's matching the Japanese version. I don't remember which.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the words
and
aren't the same.
Okay.
Yeah, which gives you a better understanding context of what's happening when you put them both together.
If you don't get confused easy like I do.
Yeah, that's easy to do.
So about
that can happen.
While I watched the whole thing for the Pioneer dub this time, I also went back and watched the Japanese version for the first time.
Oh, nice.
I'd never seen the Japanese version. I can't tell you which one actually explained it better. The Japanese version was, but the Japanese version was better acted. Yeah, yes. The nouns made more sense, and you don't have the kid from Digimon voicing the villain. Yeah. More on that in a minute. But I mean,
the Colonel?
Who's the kid?
In this?
Kaneda. Kaneda is so Tetsuo.
Yeah,
Tetsuo is voiced by Tai from Digimon.
Keneda's not the villain, but okay, gotcha.
No.
Yeah, Tetsuo. I don't even know if Tetsuo is technically the villain, but he's the most antagonistic.
I'd be curious to have that discussion with you guys later, but
yes. But anyway, so I enjoyed the movie. If you are an animation nerd, not just an anime nerd, but if you like animation enough to listen to our podcast, and you're over the age of 18 at the very least,
yes,
or 8. I mean, maybe 8 for some people.
I have a feeling the reason 28. I'm putting it to 18 was not on the version he watched at 8.
No.
But give it a watch. It is. I think it's a must see if you're an animation nerd. You need to really give it a shot. It's one of the few films I would actually say that
it's
about.
Memed all the heck.
Just in a cult. Yeah, I would say that just in a cultural reference. I mean, it's referred to so many times in pop culture talking, so that watch it if you haven't. Just subtitled it, no matter what language you watch it in.
and honestly, I will say, if as much as I like the dub version, and if you're going to watch the dub, definitely watch the later dub, not the first dub. But if you're going to watch it and you don't, and you're curious about the Japanese version, I'd suggest that version. I think it actually handles better. Totally. But you got to be used to reading subtitles, and I know that is a skill not everybody has, like him.
This guy.
I still feel sorry.
Span of a squirrel.
I still feel sorry for making you watch Ocean Waves, which that was sub only.
Oh gosh, I was like, okay, pause, back up.
Yeah, I feel sorry for you.
Back up again. Ooh, squirrel.
Anyway, that's going to bring us to the end of our spoiler-free thoughts. So join us on the other side of the bumpers, and we will get to spoiling this thing. Awesome. If you enjoy our guests this week, please check out their podcast, the Retro Rewind Podcast, over at on your favorite podcast catcher. Board the pod and join Captain Francisco Ruiz and First Officer Paul, the Master Interrupter Powers.com, as they and a special guest crewman each week take fresh looks at movies and video games from 15 or more years ago. Do you like trivia shows but wish you could stay a little longer with the contestants? Do you wish that if those contestants didn't know the answer from memory, they could Google the answers? Do you love finding out how many certain objects fit between the Earth and the Moon? And do you want a game show that is completely unfair? Then might I suggest the Raw Quiz Show, where Ryan Ashley Wall pits and competes against 5 different combatants each season to see who is the true trivia champion. And you can find it over at Pop Americana, which the podcast you're listening to is also a part of. Go to the link in the description to find out more. The following is a spoiler-filled review for the movie AKIRA. Listener discretion is advised. AKIRA was written, directed, and based on the manga by Katsuhiro Otomo. And he also directed Steam Boy, which is a movie I've been meaning to see.
Is that? Sorry. I thought that was like 3 parts of Memories, but I think that's a different movie. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay, it was also written by Aizo Hashimoto, who wrote some episodes of Lupin the Third Part 3. This is the only thing I found that I recognized. Getting into the cast, Shotaro Kaneda was played by Johnny Young Bosch, who is most well known. Well, let's face it, he's kind of the Kevin Bacon of anime dub actors.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Because he's like in everything. He played, what is that character's name in Trigun? Vash the Stampede. He was Vash the Stampede in Trigun.
Oh, okay, the main character.
Yeah, he's probably most well known by my generation as playing Adam Park, the second Black Ranger in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. But most recently, He played the character of Yun Arikawa in Godzilla Singular Point.
Oh, I still want to watch that.
Oh.
It's good. I highly suggest it. I don't know if the Japanese sub is as good because I watched it in English because I was in a hurry. But the dub was good. Well, there's a lot of techno babble.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's a lot to read.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
understood.
Tetsuo Shima was played by Joshua Seth, who is most famous for playing Tai Kamiya in Digimon.
Of course.
Kay was played by Wendy Lee, who's famous for playing Faye Valentine in Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, okay.
Colonel Shikishima was played by Jameson Price.
Sounds delicious.
And in Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, he played, in the English dub, he played Reeve Tuesti, the controller of Kate Sith, if you don't know who that is.
Yeah, I don't. That doesn't know either, but thank you.
You didn't get that far in Final Fantasy VII?
No.
When y'all did that?
No, I didn't.
Admittedly, it's a long game. Dr. Onishi was played by Simon Prescott, and he played a character named Master Vile in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
As one does.
Ryu was played by Bob Buchholz. See, I knew there were some of these names I couldn't pronounce.
Yeah, Bob.
Of course, it's the Western names. And he played Gene Starwind in Outlaw Star.
Oh, good series.
Kyoko, who is a Psychic Kid number 25, was played by Sandy Fox, and she is most famous for playing Chibi Usa, Sailor Mini Moon in Sailor Moon Crystal.
Okay.
And I think she does that role in their new dub of the actual Sailor Moon anime now, to the original anime. Takeshi and Masura, number 26 and 27, was played by Cody McKenzie, and he was additional voices in Trigun. Kaori was played by Michelle Ruff, who played Fujiko Mine in Lupin the Third: The First.
Lupin the Third, the First.
That's the actual name of it.
That's the CG one, right? That was most recent.
Yeah, it's the CG one. I haven't watched it yet, but that is the newest one.
Yeah, the more recent one. Yeah.
Yamagata was played by Michael Lindsay, and he's known for playing Joe Kiddo, Agumon, Greymon, and Gotsumon, and a character named Benjamin in Digimon, which I nearly wanted to say Benjamin when I saw Benjamin. Kaisuke, however you say this, was played by Anthony Pulcini, who played Matt in Saints Row 2. Nezu was played by Mike Reynolds, who played a character named Lobstatron, Masked Rider Warrior Commander, and Masked Rider Strongman, Tentacion, and the Skull Reapers in Masked Rider, the Saban adaptation of the Kamen Rider series from back in the days when Power Rangers was still really big.
Okay.
Getting into the Kingdom Hearts connections, strap in. This is actually longer than the cast list.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Cam Clark played Kaneda in the Streamline dub of this movie, and in Kingdom Hearts, he does the voice of Simba.
Mm-hmm.
Kirk Thornton, who is the Scientist 1 in the Pioneer dub, was the voice of Saix and Isa in Kingdom Hearts. Derek Stephen Prince, the man leading people to Akira and Man on Vehicles Radio 1 and Radio Reporter 2 in the Pioneer dub, played Vexen and Evan in Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, yeah, them.
Paul St. Peter played Takashi Crowd Soldier 2, Councilman 6, and Man Declaring Akira's Return, and he's known for playing Xemnas in Kingdom Hearts.
Councilman number 6 was the bomb.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he did blow up.
Mitsuo Iwata, who played Kaneda in the Japanese version, plays Peter Pan in the Japanese version of Kingdom Hearts. Tesho Genda, who played Ryu in the Japanese version, is the voice of Tigger in the Japanese version of Kingdom Hearts. Tony Pope, who played Colonel Shikishima, Yamagata, Resistance Member 3, Resistance's Insider, Interrogator 1, Sewer Vehicle Pilot, and Revolutionary with Grenade, Waiter, Building Alarm Announcement, Bombing Announcement, Unit 375 Cop, Gang Member 5, Barriers Announcement, Shimazaki, Mitsuru Kiwata, Karukiya bartender in the streamlined dub of this movie. Apparently, he was half the cast.
Yeah, he got underpaid.
He played the character of Geppetto in Kingdom Hearts.
Huh.
Bob Bacholtz, who was Ryu in the Pioneer dub, was the voice director in 5 of the Kingdom Hearts games.
Whoa.
Yuriko Fuchizaki, who played Kaori in the Japanese version, played Wendy Darling in the Japanese version of Kingdom Hearts. Kozo Shioa, who played Miyako Follower in the Japanese version, played Chien Po in the Japanese version of Kingdom Hearts. Yosuke Akimoto, who was the Harukiya bartender in the Japanese version, played Dylan and Zalden in the Japanese version of Kingdom Hearts. Matthew Mercer, who was additional voices in the Pioneer dub, played the character of Ira in Kingdom Hearts. Jameson Price, who was Colonel Shikishima in the Pioneer dub, was additional voices in Kingdom Hearts. And last but not least, Michelle Ruff, who was Kaori in the Pioneer dub, was additional voices in Kingdom Hearts. That is the biggest Kingdom Hearts connection list I think we've ever done.
Yep, sounds about right.
Now that I am going a little rough in the voice, why don't you go into info and stuff, Jacob?
All right, so info and stuff. You you can watch this for free on Tubi TV.
That's how I watched it.
All right. How did you watch it, Paul?
I have a copy.
Ah. Gotcha. Which copy? Which version?
Probably the same
Both.
one we've got.
It's Paul's copy.
Yeah.
Okay, it's Paul's
I have
copy.
the,
Okay.
The anime, the Japanese, and the 2 English versions.
Okay.
So is it the Funimation release then, or is it like an older one?
I don't know. I don't check the writing on the back.
So
Just does it look like this?
Maybe it's in the closet somewhere.
Okay, I was just curious.
does the Funimation one have the ones we were supposed to watch? The Pioneer.
Yes.
Or
It has all 3, but it obviously doesn't actually say Pioneer or
Okay, well,
Streamline on it because
I
copyright
just didn't
reasons.
know
But yeah,
which one the Tubi one was. I just know Funimation was at the front, so I didn't know.
Funimation is the one that owns all the rights.
And I guess that doesn't
to
help.
the thing
Okay.
now. So,
Fair enough.
No, it's not going to answer your question.
All right.
but yes, that is the one you were supposed to watch if it's got all 3 dubs,
All right.
both English dubs and the Japanese dub. Anyway,
All right. So on IMDb, it has an 8 out of 10, which is really
IMDb.
good. Production was by Tokyo Movie Shinsha.
TMS.
Yeah, T-Met. I'm going to butcher your name, so I do apologize.
Well, that one you can't actually say TMS because they also go by that term.
Yeah, TMS. All right, so distribution was by Toei. In U.S., it was originally done by Streamline Pictures. It was released originally in Japan on July 16th, 1988, and the U.S. debut was on December 25th, 1989. Man, that'd be an amazing Christmas present.
Be a weird Christmas present.
Yeah.
Like, what am I watching here?
Especially if you don't know what it is going into it.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, Grandma and Grandpa.
Little Timmy, I'll love this, I think.
Imagine that one scene over there still in the room.
Oh my gosh.
One
Anyway.
scene.
Talk
One
about
in
the mo-
particular I'm thinking of.
Oh,
Boy, just
okay.
imploded those people.
Oh.
That wasn't the one, but sure.
Oh, yeah, that scene? Oh, wait, no.
Yeah, anyway,
Yeah, either way.
I don't
so
think the
box
clown
of-
is married to that girl.
I don't even want to know who that is.
It's Grandma.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
great.
grandma.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Anyway,
All right, box office. It has an estimated budget. Now, I got two different sources for this. So either it had a budget of 1.1 million yen, or it had 700 yen, or
whichever one makes it more expensive than Kiki's delivery service.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
yeah,
Because it beat out that budget by like a bunch.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, $5.5 million in U.S., which was the most expensive anime film made to that date in 1988.
Mhm.
All right, so it's opening U.S. weekend Canada.
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 Canada. Jeez.
Canada.
Yes, in the country of Canada.
Where's the maple syrup?
Take off, eh?
I kind of want him to have a Canadian accent now.
Eh?
I'm so sorry to all of our Canadians.
Exactly. We apologize for that.
Hey, give me back my bike, eh?
I mean, we are equal opportunity offenders here, so
That is true. Its opening weekend made $11 million. Its U.S. gross was $153,000 of overall. It made $1 million. $1.1 million in the United States and Canada. And its worldwide gross was $1.5 million.
And it took $5 million to make.
Yeah.
Oh, so it didn't make its money back.
Well,
It
at
did
least internationally it did.
Yeah.
I'm
Now-
sure it's made its money back a lot since
Oh,
then.
yeah. Just a bit. All right. So going into the home release, and there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
There are so many different variations and versions of who would be like.
Welcome to anime.
Yeah, welcome to anime.
So I can't tell you which one I have.
All right. So on VHS release, it was initially by Streamline Video, offered it in 1991 in May. It was distributed by Orion Home Video in 1993. In the UK, Akira was released on video by Ocean World Communication in 1991. In 1993, the film had sold 60,000 tapes in the United Kingdom, 100,000 tapes in Europe, 100,000 tapes in the United States.
That's not counting the bootlegs.
No, of course
That's
not.
not counting the bootlegs,
Not
which
counting
there were
bootlegs.
thousands and trillions of.
The original VHS release of Akira started up Manga Entertainment Australia. The VHS distributed. All right, in 2001, Akira was re-released on video. In 1994, the DVD and VHS with the new English dubbed, produced by Animes in 2001. That just seems weird. In 2002, Manga released a 2-disc DVD featuring the Pioneer and the other English dub of this in 2004. Now let's see here. In 2005, Manga Entertainment released Akira on UMD for the Sony
Portable.
PSP in the United Kingdom with the original Streamline dub.
I don't have that version.
I wouldn't want to watch this on the short version.
Huh?
I wouldn't want to watch this on that small screen.
Yeah, that'd be kind of weird. That'd be kind of weird. All right, and kind of going back in 1992, it was distributed at the. It was part of collection. I am severely dyslexic, and sometimes I see a word and I can't read it. Hold on,
Hang on, I hit the wrong. I'm playing with the buttons.
you're playing with the button. Stop playing with the button.
Criterion Collection?
Thank you.
That's who made that Godzilla thing up there.
Yes, exactly. All right, so it was also released on Laserdisc around that time. Blu-ray. Yeah, so finally in 2009, it was released on a Blu-ray edition of the film. In 2009, North America and Bandai under I'm gonna Home Marisa. I'm gonna butcher that. I apologize.
Let me see again.
Walt Disney Studios.
Exactly.
Hanamize, I'm going to say.
Home Marisa. Yeah. Thank you. What he said.
I'm assuming it's supposed to be a Japanese word that I don't know.
Yeah. All right. In
It
2000,
also means bird.
Probably.
you never know. As of 2014, the movie has earned over $80 million worldwide in home video sales. In 2020 of April, a Ultra HD Blu-ray version of this release in Japan by Bandai. And it's the one that we all know and love right now. Or at least if you're a big Akira fan and you love anime or just love animation in general, Funimation re-released an issue December 22nd, 2020, and that is the most up-to-date home release of Akira.
So you probably got the 2020 update, while I got something from way back in the day.
Maybe.
Like that 2012, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah, either way.
whenever that original Funimation release was is when I got this.
Yeah.
Which I bet it's not listed on here. Or I bet it's too small for me to see. I'm going to go with that, and we're going to jump into the summary.
Yes.
Because we got to we are going to probably go long tonight. I have a bad feeling. This is going to be a long episode.
I have
All
a
right.
good feeling it will.
Yeah. Getting in the summary. In the far distant future of 2019, following a world war, Neo-Tokyo is plagued by corruption, anti-government protests, terrorism, and gang violence. During a violent protest, the hot-headed Shotaro Kaneda leads his vigilante Bosozoku gang, the Capsules, against the rival Clown gang. Kaneda's best friend Tetsuo Shima inadvertently crashes his motorcycle into Takashi, an Esper who escaped from a government laboratory with the aid of a resistance organization. Assisted by fellow Esper Masaru, Japan's Special Defense Forces Colonel Shikishima recaptures Takashi, takes Tetsuo away, and arrests the Capsules. While being interrogated by the police, Kaneda meets Kei, an activist within the resistance movement, and tricks the authorities into releasing her with his gang. At a secret government facility, Shikishima and his head of research, Dr. Onishi, discovers that Tetsuo possesses powerful psychic abilities similar to Akira, the Esper responsible for the singularity that destroyed Tokyo in 1988. Esper Kyoko forewarned Shikishima of Neo-Tokyo's impending destruction, but the city's parliament dismisses Shikishima's concerns, leading him to consider killing Tetsuo to prevent another cataclysm. Meanwhile, Tetsuo escapes from the hospital, steals Kaneda's motorcycle, and prepares to run away from Neo-Tokyo with his girlfriend Kaori, but they are ambushed by the clowns. The Capsules save Tetsuo and Kaori, but Tetsuo begins suffering intense headaches and hallucinations and is taken back to the hospital. After overhearing their plan to rescue Tetsuo and the other Espers, Kaneda joins Kei's resistance cell. At the hospital, the Espers try to assassinate Tetsuo via hallucinations, but the attempt is thwarted. He then searches for them in a fit of rage, easily killing any orderlies and militiamen blocking his path. The resistance group infiltrates the hospital, and Kyoko draws Kei and Kaneda into Shikishima and the Esper's futile attempts to stop Tetsuo. Kyoko tells Tetsuo that Akira, located in cryonic storage beneath the Olympic Stadium's construction site, could help Tetsuo with his powers. After rejecting everyone around him, especially Kaneda, Tetsuo escapes the hospital and hunts for Akira. Kei, used by Kyoko as a medium to stop Tetsuo, breaks her and Kaneda out of military custody. Shikishima stages a coup d'etat against Neo-Tokyo's government and directs all of its military forces to destroy Tetsuo at any cost. At the Capsule's former hangout, Harukiya Bar, Tetsu confronts gangmates Yamagata and Kai over Kaneda's bike and kills Yamagata after his protest. Kai relays the news to Kaneda, who vows to avenge his friend, while Takashi brings Kei away. Tetsuo, mistaken for Akira by cultists, rampages through Neo-Tokyo, arriving at Akira's cryogenic storage place under the stadium. Kei fights Tetsuo, but he defeats her and exhumes Akira, only to find that his remains have been sealed in jars for scientific research. Kaneda duels Tetsuo with a laser rifle, and Shikishima fires an orbital weapon at him. While the latter destroys his arm, neither is able to stop him. Shikishima and Kaori approach the stadium, where Tetsuo now has a robotic arm, is in great pain, and losing control over his powers. Kaori attempts to restrain Tetsuo, while Shikishima offers to return him to the hospital, heal his injuries, and help control his abilities. Kaneda arrives and continues his duel with Tetsuo, who, weakened from his missing arm, mutates into a gigantic mass of flesh, engulfing Kaneda and killing Kaori. As the mass grows, Akira awakens to create a singularity, drawing Tetsuo and Kaneda into another dimension. After teleporting Shikishima to a safe distance, the Espers agree to rescue Kaneda, knowing that they will not be able to return to Neo-Tokyo. In the singularity, Kaneda experiences Tetsuo and the Espers' childhoods, including his and Tetsuo's friendship and the Espers' psychic training before Tokyo's destruction. The Espers return Kaneda to Neo-Tokyo, informing him that Akira will take Tetsuo to safety and that Kei is developing psychic powers. After witnessing the birth of a universe, Onishi's laboratory crushes him to death. After consuming most of Neo-Tokyo, the singularity disappears and water floods the crater left in its place. Kaneda, mourning the loss of Tetsuo, discovers that Kei and Kai have survived, and they ride off into the ruins while Shikishima watches the sunrise. Tetsuo humbly introduces himself as at another unspecified plane of life and triggers the creation of a universe transcending the limitations of human existence. I swear they made half that up.
Yeah, I was about to say there's a lot of implied things
Right.
that I didn't
There
know.
you
Yeah,
are.
exactly.
Yes, I would
that's
agree.
kind of how I feel about it. Getting into the trivia right quick, this movie consists of 2,212 shots and 160,000 single pictures, 2 to 3 times more than usual, using 327 different colors. All of this being a record in animation film. 50 of which were exclusively created for this film. The
Only
reason for
50?
Isn't everything
reason-
exclusively created for this film?
No,
apparently
with that budget,
it must be the inks, I'm guessing, or the paints.
okay.
I think is what they're referring
Got
to.
it.
The reason for this statistic is that most of the movie takes place at night, a setting that is traditionally avoided by animators because of the increased color requirements.
What?
Because you have
They
to.
just put it all on computer.
This was all before Batman. By the way, just remember, it's probably, if we didn't have this movie, TMS probably would not have been able to make Batman the Animated Series, because I'm fairly certain they must have reused some of those ink colors
Maybe.
for that show,
Probably.
because a lot of that
Oh,
show
that-
was at night.
That's why it looks like Neo Tokyo. No way.
Pretty much.
Wow. So
It's not that grimy.
with that many frames, does that mean it's mainly shot on 2s instead of 4s, or?
Yeah, it's on 2s.
I think it's actually more on ones.
I could see that. for
Yeah,
some
it's
of
There's
it.
Yeah,
a
it's
lot
showing
of
one
shots
and
here
two,
that
that's
looks like
right.
it's on ones.
Wow.
All right. I'm sorry. I'm kind of an animation buff, and I'm having a brain lapse. What is that? I know 24 frames a second versus what are you
Okay,
talking about?
so
Ones and twos and
in
fours.
animation, animating on ones would be like drawing on every single frame. Every single frame is different. So in 24
Right.
frames, you have
24
24 different
frames
pictures.
a second,
Animating on
right.
twos, they actually will double the every other one is when it will update. So on the
Right,
second
so
frame, it's actually a copy of the first.
12 frames a second, which is
Essentially.
standard TV.
Right.
You're right.
And most movies I think are animated on ones.
Oh.
Yeah, I
But
would
there's
assume
some-
this is
there-
on ones.
I thought most
There
of
is
it was
there's some shots in this though that look like it's faster than ones, and I don't know how that works.
That could be because they could speed it up and shoot like 30 frames in a second or more.
Oh.
It would have had to be, especially for some of those commercials there near the beginning on that news broadcast. Looked a lot of those look like they were faster than
Although
that.
there are a lot of frames in a second, 24.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah, but maybe.
There's a reason I'm an animation enthusiast and not a practitioner. This was one of the first Japanese anime films to have the character voices recorded before they were animated. While this is typical practice in U.S. animation, in Japan the animation is generally produced first.
Oh, interesting.
This film is widely credited with breaking anime into mainstream Western audiences. I
Especially
don't
8-year-olds.
know if- Apparently.
Yeah,
Apparently.
apparently 8-year-olds.
This movie takes place in 2019 and depicts Neo Tokyo creating a new Olympic stadium. Coincidentally, Tokyo was scheduled to host the 2020 Summer Olympics before it got pushed to 2021.
That
Thanks,
was when they
COVID.
found out Akira was buried.
That has to be.
Yeah, exactly.
It really has to be. They had to rebuild the entire stadium because of that.
And COVID was a cover-up.
Exactly.
Yes.
Worldwide
Yeah.
cover-up to keep us all from getting psychic powers. But anyway,
I believe it.
the music for this film was completed before any of the composers saw a frame of film or read the script.
I could believe that.
Wow.
The music did have to be edited to fit some scenes, though. Well, I bet it did. Streamline Pictures is reported to have become the film's distributor when both George Lucas and Steven Spielberg labeled it unmarketable in the U.S.
What?
Yeah.
It is just crazy.
I wonder if
The
they thought it was too violent.
Maybe.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they thought it was too weird.
Why not?
I don't know. Steven Spielberg kept getting a lot of flack for like having all blood like coming out like in Hearts and Indiana Jones and then like in Gremlins, and he thought
Right.
maybe he thought there's been a lot of people on my back. Maybe you guys should skip this
And
one.
I remember, like, for the longest
and I-
time, people were like, "Oh, it's cartoon, so it must be kiddie, or it must be okay for
Yeah,
kids."
that's-
And so,
That's what I'm thinking, and maybe that's what they were basing that off of. Because this is before Steven Spielberg had done any work with the animation stuff he would later go on to do.
I was about to say this is the same year that Land Before Time came out, and I think he was involved with that.
that sounds right. Yes,
He was.
I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again.
but there's no blood in that.
No.
exactly.
Well, there is a little blood. There is a little blood.
Anyway. The shot of Kaneda's bike sliding to a stop away from the camera in the opening bike chase sequence is considered to be the most referenced shot in animation.
I can see that.
Homages appear in such shows as Teen Titans, Genndy Tartakovsky's Star Wars Clone Wars, Samurai Jack, Batman the Animated Series, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Adventure Time, The Simpsons, and even Pokemon.
Oh, yeah.
The name Tetsuo literally means Iron Man in Japanese.
I am Iron Man.
And that's all I could hear the rest of the time I watched this movie the second time I watched it after I did all this research was, yeah, he should be saying I am Iron Man.
Or at least voiced by Robert Downey Jr.
That would be better than Ty for most of it.
Hey!
I like Ty. Don't get me wrong. Ty is actually going to be... Well, no, I'm not going to jump into mine because guests go first when we have guests. So, who wants to go first? Paul or Francisco?
Paul.
I'll go since we said it before, but my like on this is the animation, the quality, the fluidity, one of those words. The way the animation moves, and it's all hand drawn, and it's spectacular to watch.
Yeah.
It's very fluid, a lot like the blood, but also a lot of the emotions. It's just very appealing to the eye to watch this art come alive, and it's such a fantastic reference to point at and say, this is what animation, this is how traditional hand-drawn animation should move.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like just expanding on that, like from fabrics, like when you see that iconic shot of Canada lifting the cover from his bike toward the end, just the way things flow and the way things feel like they're real. Even though it's animated, it feels like it's real. It feels like it's
the physics seem real.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Which, when I stop and think about it, that a computer isn't simulating that. You're actually visualizing, and you actually have to do tricks with how you draw things to make it look like real life, because just like when you have like squish and squash in a baseball, like a ball dropping for animation, you have to exaggerate the motion to make it look real, make it look like it's actually doing that. I mean, in real life, it doesn't do that, but so that you're taking all these factors into making a movie like this that's so beautiful and animated so well is just, quite the achievement. I'll also comment that Tetsuo's metamorphosis, is that what you're talking about, the amoeba scene?
Yeah, that's why I called the amoeba scene, because she described the amoeba thing earlier. Oh. So I kind of made that connection because he was kind of expanding like an amoeba.
Okay, I wasn't getting that, but okay, that totally makes sense.
I didn't see one cell in there at all.
There were multiple cells.
You need
a ton of cells
but
per second.
Just seeing
trillions upon trillions.
Oh my gosh. Cells with both 1L and 2.
Exactly.
Seeing just the intricacies of the fingers on them, and just covering over, and all the stuff that went into that is just mind-boggling, complex, and just so beautiful in its not horribleness, but just how gross it is, and how I'm trying to think of the right word, but I'll say the grotesqueness of it.
Yes,
coupled with the beauty of what they're achieving there is a cool juxtaposition, I suppose.
Is this part of your like too, Francisco?
Yeah, that is my like, essentially. I was expanding on it.
I just wanted to make sure, because I'm going to jump in here too.
I mean, I hated the animation. It's horrible. Give me more Care Bears movies. Come on.
What is this, Disney?
Well, the reason I asked is because I wanted to jump in and get on this, because this is actually one of my likes too. And I didn't want to. If you had a different first like, I was going to let you go ahead with that. Yeah. But anyway, I love the animation. This is amazing cell animation for what it is. Because this is it's all hand drawn. I don't think there's any computer shortcut in this at all. No, I take that back. There is some. I
was going to say in the credits, there's computer animation credited.
Yeah, so. Yeah. And I looked up where that was. That's the little effect thing there when he's looking at the waveform on that.
Oh, okay.
That is CG. I know for certain that's CG, and I wouldn't be surprised if maybe some of the motorcycle chase at the beginning has some CG. And when I say CG in that instance, I'm actually referring more to like how the clock tower and Great Mouse Detective, that CG.
Oh,
that is different than what we think of as CG nowadays. because it's a
But
different way of doing
if it was CG, they did a very good job of
Oh,
masking
yeah.
it, unlike
And the only
Great Mouse Detective.
and the only reason I think it might be that is just because there's some of that I don't know how you do hand drawn without it looking awkward.
Do you suppose it's almost like they had the computer generate the frames and they painted over them, almost like a rotoscope effect? Okay.
That's how they did it in Great Mouse Detective.
Oh,
so I assume it's the same.
There's some animation. You look at some of the old Tom and Jerry's where they're like running down the hall chasing each other, and the way the hall moves, you would swear it was done by computer, but no, it's just taking the time and the discipline to get it all right.
Exactly.
They could have done that.
Excellence, Paul.
Exactly.
What's that?
But I mean, also like y'all were saying earlier in the spoiler-free section, the light trails during that that are amazing. I do think they. I think the lighting needs to take a step up in modern animated films.
Yeah,
to be similar to this, maybe not exactly, because admittedly there is a little bit I don't like about it, but it's kind of just a weird thing.
I have some to comment on that in our when we go to dislikes, but yes.
Okay. But the animation in this is beautiful. I don't think there's a scene in here that's really bad. There's not a shot in this film that I would call a bad shot.
Have you seen The Ugly Children? It's so bad.
That's a character design issue, not an animation issue.
Right.
Yeah.
And believe me, that's coming. From a technical perspective of composition, everything, not character design, I don't think there's a bad shot in the film.
Yeah, none comes to mind for me.
With that,
and especially the rest of that opening sequence, along with the bike chase. But as they're going through the city there at the very beginning, that is some amazing animation. I kind of wish I could see in a theater.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
If I could ever, that's one of those that if I ever see it being advertised as it's going to be in theaters, I will be there.
Yeah.
Much like I was with some other overly pretentious films. But
I just wanted to add, this movie came out in 1988, and I think this represents the best of animation at that time. Personally,
Oh yeah,
I know this is the same
this
year
is this is a landmark film, not just for anime, but
animation in general.
Right. This is the same year that Who Framed Roger Rabbit came out, and that probably has the best animation that the U.S. produced at that time. Maybe arguably since, but
that is
it
actually
doesn't
true.
move like this. The animation, the fluidity is different.
Yeah,
and I think there's actually, if you're looking on how to animate, there's more to learn from this movie than Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
I could see that.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit, you can actually learn more about how to make the live action and the animation interact good by studying that.
Yeah,
but there's some aspect. As much as I love Who Framed Roger Rabbit, there's some of the animation in there does get a little crunchy.
Yeah. And the lighting is really great there. But
and those,
like I said,
dumb
that's different.
bullets. If we just gone straight, no, and you waste your best bullet on the bottle. What's wrong with you?
That is not how Looney Tunes works, Francisco.
I don't care.
They're stormtrooper bullets. They don't have to aim straight.
There you go.
By the way, Who Framed Roger Rabbit came out in 1988.
Yeah.
Yes.
Same year. This
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
So anyway, your first like.
To wrap up everything that you guys have said about animation, it's pretty.
It is pretty.
It's pretty. It's like I can't say anything else. You guys absolutely just encompassed everything the animation in this film is. Just breathtaking. The level of detail. You have background animation that is being moved at the exact same moment. You have the full frame characters moving.
Right.
It's just like, what in the world? Because you see that in modern animation, but not to this detail.
Yeah.
This was a landmark film for a reason. That's why they've gone back and restored it. They've gone and done new dubs for this because it is a landmark film. Like one of you guys said that it stands the test of time as one of the greatest animated films of all time.
Can I throw a curveball question at you guys?
Sure.
Okay. If you took any actor today to voice Kaneda, who would you like to hear? If they were to do a new dub, who would you like to hear as Kaneda?
Don Knotts.
Oh my gosh.
No.
Tetsuo, what are you doing?
I think I could see Chris Evans in this role
Oh,
from a
okay.
voice perspective.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that.
Give me
That's a good
1 second.
I don't know if it was a live. If it was a live action movie,
No.
I don't think I can see
Yeah,
it.
no,
but
I'm just talking about-
just a voice,
Exactly.
voice only.
Yeah, just voice.
'Cause I know there's been talk of them of there being a live action movie for years,
Oh yeah.
and I pray it never
Yeah,
happens.
me too. I just keep this Back to the Future, Princess Bride. Just leave the past.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Okay, regarding your question,
Yes.
Matthew McConaughey.
Oh,
You want Kaneda to have a Texas accent?
that'd be interesting though.
You want Kaneda to have a Texas accent?
Oh, I know.
Well, okay. Admittedly, prior to Loki, I would never have expected Owen Wilson to be an actor I actually liked in a film.
Oh, that would be fun.
But if he can do it, Matthew McConaughey can do it.
All right, what were you going to say, Paul?
My choice is Rick Moranis doing
Oh.
his Canadian accent.
Oh my gosh.
If you're doing a parody of this movie,
From Strange Brew, take his character from that and hey, come back with my bike, hoser.
Wow.
oh my. That being said, for Tetsuo, I would go with Tom Holland.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Yeah, I can see that.
Mostly because I want to see what Tom Holland would do with a villainous character.
Because I don't think he's played one. Or at least
No, he hadn't.
I wonder what Jonathan Taylor Thomas's
Thomas?
voice sounds like these days.
Like,
Go check
Older?
out the show Last Man Standing because he does like a bunch of
He does
cameos
do
in
that,
that
yeah.
for like
Okay.
the last couple seasons.
If his voice quality is still good, like it doesn't sound like he's been smoking a pack every
No,
day
it
since
doesn't.
he's dropped off. Okay, then I would pick him for
Matthew Broderick might be good too.
Yeah, he's getting older, but yeah.
yeah.
Well, I'm just thinking in terms of voice, not in terms of age.
Well, if they had to do it now,
Nuts.
Yeah.
Don Knotts.
give me back my bike. Where'd it go? It was right here.
Anyway.
Wow.
Second likes. What we got? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first again. Going back to what Francisco said about the way the technical part of the animation where they capture the way the smoke moves. I think there was a lot of extra thought put into this, more than a regular animation. Kind of like when the wind blows behind the people, behind the bike gang, just before you see the helicopter landing. The way a bomb explodes, and it's not just on the person, it's also on the walls and the floor and the ceiling. It's the extra thought about how people move when they enter a room. They all don't enter at the same speed. If you notice, they move at different paces, like in real life.
I never noticed that.
And there's a lot of extra technical stuff in the way things move in the background that make it feel more real, a little more random, but not random because it's all calculated.
Yeah.
It's just, I think it adds an extra level that we're not used to seeing in animated films and TV.
That's awesome. For me, sort of jumping off that in terms of the realism, I love, and I imagine the manga expands on this, but I love that there's all these different elements to it that makes the world feel like it's sort of this mess. There's these government politics that aren't working. There's this religious fanatical group. There's these street gangs, and then in the midst of all that is our core story with our main characters of Kaneda trying to help his friend who's just going to the dark side. And so I like that. It feels like a real place with real struggles. And I wish there was more. I know, I feel like, this movie was already 2 hours, so it'd be hard to put even more into it. And especially for an animated film when you're already like, those just take so long to begin with. But I would have loved, and I still want to read the manga to get more of a sense of the overall world and see what is this religious belief? Why are they so? Why I think Akira is the new god, and what's going on in war with the council, and like why is the colonel so powerful to just say, yeah, I'm gonna do martial law, and they don't get a say now. You get glimmers of all that, which makes it feel like there is more to all of this. But so I would like to know more of that. But at the same time, having those glimmers, it feels like a very real place.
So it's a glimpse of a very rich world building.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. I've not read the manga, but I do know that one prophet guy that kind of looks like a fat Elvis with an afro.
Who slides off the bridge into death.
Yes. I know he has a much bigger role in the manga.
Okay.
But I don't know how much, because like I said, I have not actually read it. I just remember what I've read elsewhere. Mm-hmm. My second I love how they do the psychic effects.
Oh, yes.
Agreed.
In this movie.
Yes.
In my mind, I still think of it as magic effects, because I think that way because I think back to Lord of the Rings, because the way they do the magic fights there is similar, I feel, except, of course, live action and not animation. But I like how there's a subtle warping effect. When they're using those psychic attacks around stuff, and it's subtle, but yet it's right in your face, and you don't know it consciously, but you know subconsciously what it's doing.
Yeah, exactly.
And I like that effect on there, because let's face it, this is the year, anime wise, you're talking about the year with like Dragon Ball Z and stuff was getting big. The idea of the big flashy magical energy effects was big at this time, and he just goes the other way, says it's just this subtle wave almost of like air movement, but it's more of but you can tell it's got a little bit more mass behind it, but it's still kind of not that, is like a barrier but not really a barrier. That's I don't know a better way to put it in that, because it's just the weird way it's designed. But I like the way it looks. At first, you don't even notice it, because you notice the effects more than you notice the actual psychic wave, for a better term.
Yeah, I did.
But I know the last. I didn't notice it actually until the watch I did yesterday, and I noticed it when right when Tetsuo does that one where it makes that big sphere. Holds up that sphere there in the hallway. Yeah. I noticed it went on during that and during the Killer Toys section that I still don't understand what's going on there.
Milk.
There's
Drink
a
your
lot.
milk.
But
Yes, a lot of milk.
Yeah.
I noticed it in those two scenes and in the scene in the baby room. I just love the way that they handle that, because it's like it's there but it's not there. It's there but it's not there.
There.
I didn't.
And I love
that
that.
it's not there.
Not there.
There.
Exactly. So that's my second like.
My second like, I had to think about this because I write my notes in advance. So
Before you watch the movie?
Yeah,
No.
you don't like how this was made.
No, I watched Digimon the movie.
We did that 2 years ago.
I know. I wanted to refresh myself.
For Ty?
Yeah,
Okay.
because Ty's the man, and so is Agumon.
They're both
the
are
mom.
actors and in here, so yes.
Yeah. Either way. There's a line in this movie that kind of it caught me off guard, but it makes a lot of sense. Definitely, we were talking more like a Christian spiritual aspect.
Oh,
When-
you found the deep part of this movie.
Yeah. So there's the line where one of the children, one of the blue kids, I'm going to call them, because I can't remember names because they're terrible at names.
Well,
But,
one was Da, Ba, and then there's D.
Wow.
Put them together, they're blue.
But
Da-ba-dee-ba-ba-da. Yeah. So
There's girl, there's old boy, and young boy.
okay,
Just call them that.
the girl, the blue girl. The blue girl says something along the lines that adults should not have this power. Because if you look at it, from a spiritual aspect, the fact that children are very innocent, not completely innocent, because there is the fall, there's the sin that grips our life. But as an adult, be like you have all these jealousies and rage and power lust, and there's a lot of lust and a lot of desire and control with our main, what is his name? Canada?
Canada.
Yeah.
Or just call him Canada. We know
Canada.
what you're talking about.
No, I'm gonna get confused. Come on.
I mean, we drove past this street earlier today.
Hey, that's my bike, eh?
I think I know what the name of this episode is going to be.
Okay.
Get off my bike, eh?
But either way, be like, it's the fact that humanity's broken without Christ. Be like, without salvation, we have no hope. We have nothing to look forward to. Even though the world says, be like, oh, life's grand. All we gotta do is get everything together. No, be like, things are broken. And you see that very clearly in this film, where Canada is the power he now has. He is let it consume him. He's allowed that. What is in general the idea of sin is that he's allowed it to manifest in his life, and now it's out of control, and he can no longer control it. And so it's that sin is abounding in his life, and all of this, the destruction, he literally kills his girlfriend, or the girl he loves, out of his rage and malice and just seeking power. Like, he destroys everything in his life because he is consumed by the power now he has. And so, yeah, it's to me it's a good metaphor that with great power comes great responsibility. In a way, yes. It's just like when we allow sin to control our lives, things go wrong. And that's what I see in this film, is the fact that Canada just allows his power to consume him in the way, if we allow our sin to control us, it controls and destroys our lives.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Can I jump off that? Because that...
Yeah,
go right ahead.
That just... oh my gosh. That
you can spiritually speculate
made me
if you wish.
think about how the whole great power... what is it? Great... Jeez.
Great
Come
power.
on.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Okay, thank you. Yes. I've seen Survivor, I swear. Why is my geek cred going down? So it's interesting how Peter Parker has a very good father influence in terms of his Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
But we have...
Nice guy.
And so he's able to take his power that he's given and use it responsibly. Not the rice, Paul. And then, but here with Tetsuo, he's an orphan. He grew up in a home or an orphanage or something like that. Not a lot of love from any father figure or mother figure. And here, he probably is just like wanting to control all his life. And so when he gets all this power, he just goes bat crazy with it because he doesn't have a strong father figure influence or a parental influence to begin with. So, and I mean, you could definitely...
Nice inclusion of Batman there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't going for that. But I mean, it's an echo of that we all need our spiritual father as well. And if we're disconnected from...
Are you Tetsuo? I'm Batman.
Fine, I'm done, Paul. Are you happy? I'm done.
Yes.
If it makes you feel any better, I was having visions of Goku and Vegeta fighting in the end of this, so...
But getting back to what you were saying, Jacob, are you talking? It kind of reminded me of what Jesus said: unless you change and become like little children or have the heart of a child, you will never enter the kingdom of God. Is that what you were alluding to? Or?
In a way, yeah. Just thank you for that reminder. So yeah, it's having that childlike faith, but with now I'm confused. It'd be like the guy who gains all the psychic power is Canada, right?
No, it's Tetsuo.
Tetsuo. Okay.
No, Akira.
I meant Tetsuo
Akira has
earlier.
all the powers.
Akira.
I was trying to confuse you, Jacob.
That
Go ahead.
car.
Now you really got me confused.
Akira, Tetsuo, Kaneda.
Daba-
Tetsuo. Yeah.
Daba-
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Tetsuo gaining all this power, he doesn't know what to do with it. He like Francisco said earlier, the fact he has no mentor, he has no no father figure, no spiritual leader in his life, so that sin manifests and it becomes something he can no longer control, and destroys everything around him. The impulse control is gone,
and that's
So it's like
a great visual that he thinks he can control it, but in the end, it controls him and consumes him.
exactly.
oh wow, it's
Yeah,
like this was
exactly.
done on
Oh,
purpose.
jeez.
Maybe
No,
it
but
was.
it's what the world would call
Symbolism.
Tetsuo doesn't have a spiritual compass, is what some people might say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so is that all our likes? Or does anyone have anything extra to throw in?
I do not. No.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump into what we don't like about this movie. Whoever wants to jump in first.
I don't like this car.
Oh my god.
No.
So I'll just say I've mentioned it before. The design of the children. So I believe their names
I'm
are
glad somebody's mentioning
Masaru, Takashi, and Kyoko.
it. 25, 26, and 27.
Sure,
That's
we'll
how I
go with
remember
that.
them.
Dabadi,
When
dabadi.
when you see them as normal kids, they look wonderful. They look like just normal kids, cute
at the end of the flashback,
And then
yeah.
Yes.
but you've been seeing them in this sort of weird mummified version the whole time. So creepy, and that they still have
Because
the voice of
they
children.
haven't-
Is just go ahead, Paul.
Well, that's because they haven't aged like as other people, just like in the skin quality. So,
But yet they also kind of did.
but
so...
their vocal cords haven't aged either. So that's why they still have child voices.
I don't. But
I mean,
then
their
why?
voices...
Okay, I was.
Sorry, go ahead.
I could. You know, I didn't think about that, Paul, because if it was, when did the blast happen? 88 or something.
1988.
88. So I guess it's
It's like
20
50 years.
It's not 50 years. 2019 is not 50 years from 88.
80,
98.
98,
Oh wait, 30 years. It's about
08,
31
30
years.
years.
31 years.
I can't math. I'm sorry. I'm a graphic designer, not a mathematician.
My bad.
2019 minus 1988.
It's 31
is
years.
31.
Okay, so that makes sense. That I never really put two and two together. They'd be 31 years old, but in
I
child
really should have
form.
put that. I really should have put that together since I was born in '85 and I know how old I am.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Anyway,
So that's why they like their skin
all right.
is wrinkly.
Then
but
why are they still? Do they still have the minds of the children? Then, if they're, is it just because they've been infantilized
they
by being
never
in this baby place?
I suspect they never, since they weren't out in the real world, they never were influenced to mature.
But they have
And at the
adult
same
adults
time-
around
Yeah.
them.
Right,
Yeah.
but they treat them like children. And it's at the same time, parts of them obviously did not go through puberty.
Yeah.
So
Which is
maybe they didn't go through the hormones of all that, but yet their body's still physically aged. That's why they're wrinkly and everything.
But why'd they be that wrinkled then? If it's only 30, you don't. When you're,
Well, psychic powers wear the body out faster.
I guess.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know.
They let. Actually, I think I do know this. They since they were focusing so much on developing their mental powers, they let their physical bodies deteriorate.
That could be a possibility, yes.
Or it's deep down in there, the air is very dry. Now they're shriveled like California raisins.
What I still don't know is why are they blue? I can rationalize everything else in their design, but why are they blue?
Because of the
Yeah.
psychic abilities. All that being
Bull
said,
hockey.
they're creepy, and I don't like. I wish they would have figured out some other way to evoke power wielded by innocence than what they chose for their design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
It's too creepy. Well, I'll go along with that note. And for me, I don't mind the creepiness of the children, but for me personally, I minded the amount of blood there was. That's not my thing. I would typically skip this kind of movie that has this kind of violence and blood. So for me, it's a turn off.
that's fair.
Well, my nitpick turn off is it's going to be that nudity. Y'all know I'm a touch of a prude, or at least I assume y'all do. And that scene where they rip Kaori's shirt off, I can't. I don't like that scene.
Yeah.
I wonder why they couldn't just button that jacket up around her after that scene, because it goes on for like a good 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah. And
The whole thing, and
I was more disturbed by them punching her in the face and having her.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
But
I don't like
to
that
each their own,
either.
yeah.
Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. It's just the thing that sticks out to me is, there's an animated movie where we actually can fully see a woman's breasts.
Yeah. So I would
that just sticks out, and I don't like it.
I would say that the way they did it, they handled it in have any of you seen the 80s Vampire Hunter D?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Well, it's certainly not necessary in that one, but there's one instance where, like, I think it's a werewolf or one of the bad guys creatures is trying to make it so that this one with the main female character can be more susceptible to it's not Dracula, but the vampire lord. And she's wearing a crucifix, so he slashes down and it tears her blouse while she's slashing. So you do see an exposed breast, but it's fast, and then that's it from what I recall. This, it sort of lingers, and it's like, why are we? If it was just like a quick flash, yeah, exactly. It's more salacious.
You could have ripped her shirt off and have it only open up enough that you could see the cleavage, but not actually see.
They could have handled it a different way for sure.
Those bits, and then have her button the jacket up in the next part of that where she still hasn't, of course, hadn't had a chance to put a new shirt on yet. But for the most part, the rest of the time, it's like, I just
Totally fair.
Sounds weird, I know, but I just don't like that.
Totally understandable.
I don't like. I don't get why you like seeing her get punched, but I mean that's fine.
I don't like seeing her get punched.
No, I didn't hear that. I
I'm just
hear
saying
that you like to see.
From a technical point of view, if you're going to structure a scene where a woman has to get punched in the face and then they tear her shirt off to show how brutally they're damaging her, it could have been handled with a little bit more finesse. That's all I'm saying.
I can agree with that.
Well, I think that's also to show the brutality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I get that, but they could have alluded to it more instead of just outright showing it.
Do you think
that makes sense?
It would have been earned as much to see Tetsuo just totally pretty much kill the clown? Would you think that would have been
I disagree with his anger there too, but then at that point he's obviously becoming more animalistic.
Yeah.
So I kind of retroactively forgive is the wrong term, but kind of understand that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But if you hadn't seen as much, would it have been as understandable? Is what I'm saying.
I think the brutality of him punching her and that brutality would have felt more earned, I guess, because I'm not being distracted by the fact that I just saw animated breasts.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of a better way that we're still PG, but
breast is a clinical term as far as I can tell.
Yes.
So
anyway, who's left? Jacob and did you already go, Paul?
I gave a dislike. I have another.
Okay. Well, we'll get to the seconds in a minute. Jacob, what's your first dislike?
All right, my first dislike is kind of a question because it's not really answering the movie because there's so many answers that leave you with so many questions.
Yeah.
Who is AKIRA?
AKIRA is.
Who could? Oh wait, we're in the spoiler section.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are in the spoiler section.
AKIRA is experiment number 28 because we see his number on the thing.
I'm fully aware of that.
He caused World War III apparently.
Yeah.
Back in 1988.
Oh, I didn't get that.
Well, I mean, I think they say that in the Japanese version that it was caused by him.
Okay.
But it kind of was more like, there's a giant crater in the middle of Tokyo. It must be somebody else we must go attack.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing.
There's the reason I bring that up is unless you have read the manga, I haven't, but I've done enough research to understand it. Okay, AKIRA in the manga And it's alluded in the movie a little bit that he's actually a boy. He's actually a boy who has psychic abilities. And one thing leads to another, that his psychic ability destroys Tokyo, and which leads to World War III.
Well, that's the technical reason of who he is.
Yes.
I think, at least as far as the movie's concerned, the AKIRA that's causing all this trouble is not necessarily that boy. It's the rumors about it. Because you've got that cult of AKIRA that pops up. You've got the fear of AKIRA in the army, and almost the worship of him by the 3 psychic kids. How everyone and their dog knows him, but Kaneda had never heard of him. I don't know, but this is how I look at it.
Yeah, it's looking for the movie itself. If you're a first time viewer, you're like, who is this character? And it's not very well defined, like who he is. You're given so many like misinformation of who he is, understanding the myth and understanding the fear. It's like, oh, he's a god. Oh, he's never existed. Oh, he's just a boy. Like there's so much more misinformation going on in this movie. And definitely, if you haven't watched the movie, like you watched it in passing, you're like, who's AKIRA? Like you talk to people like who watch the movie but don't have any understanding of the movie. It's like, I don't get it. Like, it's AKIRA, but we never meet AKIRA. We hear of AKIRA, but we don't have a full understanding of who AKIRA was.
Well, there is probably like less than a minute total of AKIRA, of footage of the character of AKIRA in the entire film.
You do meet him at the end.
Yeah, you do.
For like a hot minute. But
he says, hello, my name is Tim.
Suo?
Duo!
Wow. Oh. Anyway.
So yeah, that's my one dislike is who is AKIRA?
Now, I'm curious, Jacob. Do you not like mysteries? Because what you sort of laid out was something you find common in mysteries, where where it's not necessarily everything's not spelled out all the time, and sometimes there are lingering doubts. So I was just curious if that's just this type of storytelling is not your cup of tea, or if there's some in particular about AKIRA that wasn't your cup of tea.
He was a boy that was killed and later brought back to life, or he was never killed later and went on and became energy, the next life evolution of life, is what I got from it.
Yeah, something like that. Something like that. Be like, it's not the fact that it's. I like mysteries.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
I like mysteries, always have. But it's just more. There's just so much more. Like when you give me a mystery and it's something I can solve, but. There's not enough information there that I watched the movie. I'm still like, who in the world is this character? But it took me going to like watching a YouTuber about like explaining what this was. It's like, oh, now it makes sense. Watching the movie, I'm like I'm so confused. My dog ears be flopped this way.
Interesting. Okay.
It was so confusing. Okay. I was like, okay. You get that fraction of a second. Okay, that's AKIRA. It's just a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. I understood
Who's
that
not
after
blue and wrinkly.
Huh?
Who's not blue and wrinkly?
No, he's not.
Because he's on the next evolution. Or
yeah,
maybe
apparently.
Maybe I just didn't care who this is. Okay, it's a boy. Okay.
AKIRA Digivolve to Space Baby.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's not bring 2001 into this.
Hey, it's similar ending.
Yeah.
But anyway.
It was just the idea of like, unless you are paying complete attention to everything, and I have the attention span of a squirrel or
or Doug.
A Doug.
No, Doug from the movie Up.
Oh,
squirrel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So it's just more like
there's a show I haven't watched in years.
A show I've never watched.
Well, there's 2 different versions. Watch the Nickelodeon version, not the Disney version.
Okay. So mine was like if you it's like who is AKIRA, and it's not like having to watch the movie 20 times to understand like who actually AKIRA was.
Okay. Fair
enough.
Yeah. No.
All right. So second dislikes. Who wants to go first?
Well, I have a very small one and then the bigger one. So I'm gonna go with the small one first.
Oh, a twofer.
Yeah, it's a twofer. So we commented a little bit about the animation being we're all like going goo goo gaga over it. I will say there were moments where the shadowing on some characters were like overly stark. It made me feel like, oh, they just were taken from the manga. It felt like it belonged in the manga where you have just black and white usually.
Yeah.
As opposed to okay, we're doing film now. Let's have a little bit like, okay, the shadow's not just straight black with the color. Let's have some like variation that's okay. It's not fully black. It's, the skin tone, but shadowed or what have you. So that bothered me a little bit. I'll say the thing that I guess this maybe goes into what you're saying, Jacob, with who is AKIRA, but more of who is Tetsuo for at the end. And maybe it's a combination of them both. Is Tetsuo he says, I am Tetsuo. Almost like I am is the name of God. So is it implying that he's God now? Is that what the implication is, or something else?
Or I think it's similar, as much as I don't want to bring it up.
Yeah.
But I think it's similar to the 2001 Space Baby ending.
How?
It's kind of that reached a new plane of existence and enlightenment.
Okay. All right. I guess I could see that.
As much as I hate that.
Yeah.
But because I feel like ending at this point is a cop-out. But
Well, I feel like it made more sense though than I think one of us mentioned Evangelion, which I don't understand the ending to that at all. And I'm talking about the original series,
it's a lot of orange juice.
not the newest ones, which I haven't seen.
Sunny
but-
D.
Oh my goodness.
Sunny D.
So I guess
end of Evangelion.
it wasn't the best. I will agree it wasn't the best ending, and I was a little confused over if that was the implication that he was a god, and why wasn't AKIRA the god? Why was Tetsuo now the god? So that's the confusing part.
Had they two merged?
Yeah.
I suspect
No.
this is just me speculating, but I
Of
suspect I suspect AKIRA, the three
Oh,
psychic
yeah, yeah.
kids,
'Cause they just
and
went too.
Tetsuo all went to that other extra plane existence. And since Tetsuo is our connection through Kaneda, that's why we hear Tetsuo speaking.
Okay,
Yeah,
that
It makes sense.
And then plus, that's the character we should be caring more about
But we
because
don't,
he's
a
the
jerk.
well, more on that in a minute.
I care more about
Well-
additional voices. Yeah, that person.
No.
I'm just saying you're supposed to care more about Tetsuo than either AKIRA or the three psychic kids.
Agreed.
Well, that kind of is similar to my second dislike and about caring. I think this movie is a little too complicated. I think a lot of movies get this way. In the fact that if it was a story about, let's say post-apocalyptic, they don't even have to say why. I don't know why the Japanese go into, we survived World War III. It's a common trope. I know it's because of the Hiroshima blast, and I know it's a repercussions from that.
Oh, I thought it was because of
But-
Godzilla.
Let's say Godzilla did it better, is
Exactly.
all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I think it would be more relatable if it's just, don't say a bomb went off starting World War III. Just say, here we are. Anyway, but what I really don't like is I thought the movie was fine in and of itself. Okay, you have these biker gangs, and then you have these kids with weird psychic abilities. That's fine, but when you start bringing evolution into it, and then the evolving into the next state of what we were just talking about, and having these kids go into the next state of evolution where they're like energy and they can survive and nobody really dies. I think it just takes it to a place where it doesn't really need to go, and I think the movie suffers for it. They just
I agree.
made it just about the biker gang and these kids with weird abilities. I think it would have been fine.
Yeah,
It would
I
have
could
been,
see that, yeah.
Great as is, but
Yeah, I agree with that.
My dislike kind of comes off of that, and it's kind of a combination of if we were doing 3 dislikes, I would split this up, but it's kind of the same concept. I think the movie's too pretentious for its own good, and I just do not care for any of these characters.
Oh yeah.
I don't
True.
care
No
about.
character.
There's
What
not a
about
likable.
Kay?
I
That
don't
one
like
girl.
Kay either, because
All right.
and the only one I feel sorry for is
She shot that guy's face off. Forget her.
Hey, that was cool. That was cool. Don't get me wrong. She was I was rooting for her in every single fight. Don't get me wrong. But I mean, as a term of getting to know the character, I don't know her character. I don't know
Yeah.
I don't really
Yeah.
know Kaneda's character. I really don't even know Tetsuo's character, and they're the 3 biggins. I should at least care for one of these three people.
This is the
and
character.
I don't care for any of them.
This is the character you care about right here.
Yeah, the bike.
Yes,
the bike.
The bike. It is the one you feel the worst for at the end when you see that front wheel wobbling as they're going down the street. It's like, that actually hurts me more than Tetsuo disappearing.
Yeah.
Is this a knockoff of Pee-wee's Big Adventure where it's all about retrieving the bike? And all these are other side stories?
Wow.
Maybe? I don't know. I've not seen Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
No,
Me either.
not. You don't need to.
Because I didn't watch Pee-wee Herman growing up because that was after he got in trouble.
Yeah.
Although I did watch Flight of the Navigator growing up a lot.
Compliance.
So anyway, yeah. But yeah, if I can't care for the characters, the story can only take me so far. Yeah. And I notice the issues with the story more, and that's because the story has got this very pretentious look at all the symbolism in this film and all these hard-hitting topics, and we must we have this such important stuff to say. It's like, you know what, I can take that better. You're preaching to me a little bit better if you give me a character I actually give a flying banana about.
Do you find that's the case with a lot of anime, though? That at least
not with
80s anime,
not with anime,
not modern anime.
Like Kimba the White Lion.
I've not actually seen Kimba the White Lion.
No, but even some like early Studio Ghibli things. I feel like
I care about it nearly every Studio Ghibli thing I've watched, with the exception of, much like Jacob, I really don't like the kids from Grave of the Fireflies.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
Which has the same pretentiousness problem.
Right. Yeah.
That this film has.
Well,
I care more about Kiki than I do her delivery service, but that's another.
Well, let's face it, Gigi is best cat. Outside of Ashley's cat, Toby. But anyway, yeah, I mean, when you don't give me characters I like, and then you give me a super pretentious story that's kind of going this super artsy thing, it's harder for me to enjoy, and I get distracted easier.
Mm-hmm.
Does it come across as pretentious because you've heard about this film before you saw it?
I will say that's a little bit of it, because, I mean, this movie is a bit overhyped, and we've overhyped it, I think, a little in this podcast. I've overhyped it in this podcast. But it is similar to like what I call the Citizen Kane problem, where Citizen Kane was talked up so much, and then when I finally saw it, I was like, I don't care about any of these people. I don't even think knowing
the sled again.
I don't even think the fact knowing that Rosebud was the sled affected that any.
Spoilers.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much, people.
And Darth Vader is Luke's father.
No!
That's impossible!
We're not a live-action podcast. We can spoil all that stuff all we want. Unless it's like Loki and it just came out. But anyway.
Don't you dare.
I'm not. Anyway, so yeah, it's just, I don't care for the characters in the movie, and that makes me realize how overly pretentious I feel the movie story is. So, yeah. There's a reason I didn't watch this for 7 years.
I don't feel the same way. I mean, I totally get wanting the characters to be drawn to them, more relatable, or just someone you could care about and get behind. I get that, and I agree. There isn't really that in this. Canada only slightly, I'd say, for me. But like I said,
but he is the one that gets the most characterization.
Yeah. But I will say, for me, the way they made the world, and I don't know if it's just me and my getting crotchy and old and stuff, and seeing what the world's like, world's becoming these days. But I guess I'm drawn to stories about dystopia and stuff like that, and seeing how fiction has handled it, and hoping that there's a way out of it. so that I think that appeals to me.
That's fair, but I mean, a lot of times, yeah, I'd watch artsy movies too. I mean, I was in the theater as soon as I could to see Tenet when it came out last year.
I haven't seen it.
That was good.
Especially since our theaters were open here.
Nice.
But even though those stupid kids talked behind me the whole second time.
Oh my gosh.
That's annoying.
Anyway, that's all beside the point.
That's my dislike for this movie. The talking kids in your movie of Tenet, in your screen of Tenet. The worst.
Yeah. But I mean, I like those kind of movies too that make you think. I like movies that make me think.
Yes.
But when I start thinking, and I realize I don't agree with half of what this movie is saying, and there's nothing that makes me care about the people going through it.
Yeah, that's tough. Absolutely.
It makes the movie harder to watch.
Yep.
I mean, it's why it took me. It's why the only time I've ever sat through 2001: A Space Odyssey was when I got to see it in a movie theater, because nothing could distract me.
Was it got to
I'm
or
sorry.
had to?
I wanted to, because it was a movie I felt I should see as a sci-fi nerd.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And I know from the couple of times I'd tried it before then, I couldn't get past the monkeys.
That's also fair.
So getting to see it in the theater, and plus I kind of knew in the theater it was going to be better anyway, because you can tell from the clips that that's a movie that's going to do better in a theater.
Gosh, I just
And-
remember that
and-
sound being so loud of the when the obelisk was there. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And plus, I know that some of the special effects in Star Trek: The Motion Picture, they draw inspiration from that. And of course, I'm a big Trekkie too, so I kind of wanted to see that. And that watching 2001: A Space Odyssey is what made me say, if they ever put motion picture in a theater, I will be there as soon as I can buy tickets.
That's
And then I got to do that. So
nice.
Are also known as Snore Trek.
That's fair.
I recognize it as the slow motion picture.
Yeah, it is the very
yeah.
slow motion.
Anyway, we've been on my dislike long enough. Jacob?
All right. So, who saw this in its original Japanese, in its original language?
I did.
Okay.
No, I mean, not this
Okay.
viewing, but I have seen it in the original.
Yeah.
Okay. So, in the both English dubs, the lip flaps do not work. And, like
agree.
they're over exaggerated, like all their
It's because though those lip flaps are matching the Japanese
Yeah, I know.
syllables.
yeah,
better.
exactly.
Mouth
Okay,
movement.
Donald.
That was more Mr. Ed, but okay.
But it's just when it comes to the lip flaps in this, because I guess with both the dubs, because I've seen both dubs before, and it's just like, this is bizarre. I was thrown up there again. I'm watching an English dub of a Japanese movie.
So I've been going through like the old 70s era Godzilla movies lately.
Roar.
Yeah, and it's got the same problem because of the few of them that we actually have an English dub for.
Yeah.
It's the same problem you're talking about. It's the same. It's that same issue.
Yeah.
And it's just because English voices and Japanese do not sound anything alike.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cadence and the timing of
Yeah.
how you say
Exactly.
I mean,
words.
you can say a Japanese word in like a second, in like one syllable, but to say the same thing in America is like 10 syllables, and vice versa. Is the same
I
problem.
agree with
So,
you. I think in this film, it's just more how they animated the mouth. Like everything's a little more over exaggerated, just slightly. How they talk.
Oh, I didn't know
It's
that.
and so
Well,
be
yeah,
like,
because it's not the standard anime mouth flaps. That's just like
No,
open
it's
and
not.
close. They actually
like South
move.
Park.
Yeah, they actually move the lips around to form the syllables, which is why it doesn't look good in English.
yeah, because it's like whenever someone like he was talking like this. So
Yeah.
it's got this like the animation is beautiful. It's just when you're listening to it in English as an English audience, it's just like it looks like they're again animated beautifully. It just looks very bizarre.
Yeah,
And I'd be like,
Otherworldly.
yeah, otherworldly. It's like be like I'm over exaggerating everything I say, but it's talking normal speed.
right.
There again, I'm not degrading the animation. It's beautiful, and this
I will
a-
say it does work better in the Japanese version.
yeah. And then for me, it's me like, okay, I've got to read words. What's going on? What's going on? What? Oh, squirrel. Never mind. Where am I again? Oh,
Welcome
Wanna
to the
ride bikes?
podcast.
Yes.
yeah, exactly. Want to ride bikes?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that black text on white background in the end credits there, Paul, if you cared about that.
Does it bother
or
you?
the-
in the end
Turned it off
credits?
by
Or
then.
the-
By the
or
time
the-
by
or
the
the
time I
black-
heard
or the black-
Akira talk about like, oh, I'm being reborn or whatever, I didn't give a flying flip.
Or how about the director's credit that's black text on a white background?
There you go. That's a little something extra special for the folks at home.
Yes.
It's a bit spicy.
I'm glad I didn't see that particular frame in a theater because I would go blind. But anyway, is that everything everyone wants to get on that?
Yep.
Before we jump into ratings?
Yep.
All right. So, Francisco, give me your rating for this movie.
Classic.
Nice.
And that translates into numerical value
Oh,
now.
8.5.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Any
Yeah. I'm getting to it, Drew. I'm building suspense. Jeez.
Okay.
Gosh.
Slow and boring.
Hey, I do use truncate silence, so
Oh, in that case.
I'm not allowing
I think a lot of what I've spoken to already is sort of could be summarized in that the animation is seminal. I think this is
What does that mean?
I think what it means is that it's something that people should go back to, and it's very rewatchable. It's something that's worth watching by a broad spectrum of people, but especially people that are interested in animation.
Of a work, event, moment, or figure strongly influencing later development.
I used it right.
I would say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'll work.
If for no other reason than it's very obvious that Batman animated series had to use some of the
Yes,
same
absolutely.
coloring techniques.
Exactly. So I think for that, it's
Also animated by TMS. Anyway.
I also appreciate. I appreciate the story, even though the characters, there's not a lot to root for. I do appreciate the story, where it goes, what sort of political and social constructs it makes, and sort of lets you consider these things and what you think about them. I really just appreciate that sort of. It's almost like they gave you a bunch of beautiful Lego bricks in these shapes, and it's like, okay, do you like this? Do you like this the way this was made, or do you want to see your world like this, or not? It's one of those things where if you see a work of art and it's something that creates a deep emotion in you, whether good or bad, and you actually take time to unpack that, you can discover more about yourself and what you believe. So I like it for that aspect. I feel like it's very arresting in a lot of ways. That means it really strikes me and stops me in my tracks.
Oh,
Paul.
it doesn't take you to jail.
No, it doesn't take me to jail.
Although that happened in the movie.
Oh my.
Yes.
So for all those reasons, and it would get a higher score if there were characters that you was like, oh man, I'm really rooting for you. But because there isn't that, this is really resting on the animation quality and the world building that I give it that high of a score.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Paul?
All right. I rated this blue like the kids.
Wow.
That translates to a 6.5.
Okay.
Okay.
I agree that this, like what I said earlier, this is an excellent top-notch example of traditional 2D animation. And I think it, for pop culture references and understanding, and even history, not even animation history, but general movie history, film history, this is one that should be on a 2C list, like you must watch. But again, with the story, I thought it was a bit too much in places, too much of this, and all the dislikes that we mentioned. I think it brings it down from a 10 all the way to a 6.5. It's engaging enough, I think, to get through. It's interesting enough, and it has interesting characters, but it doesn't go beyond that. Same as what everyone else said.
I'm going to give it a 6. Because
0.5? Come on!
No, 6.0. I do think if you are any sort of an animation connoisseur,
Yes.
you should watch this movie.
Yes.
Agreed.
And you should watch it if possible in Japanese with the subtitles on if you're an English speaker or native
In a
English
theater.
speaker. And a theater would be good too. At the same time, even with all that, this is just not a story I enjoy. Like I said earlier, I think it's too pretentious for my taste, and I just don't care for any of these characters. There's nothing that makes me like any of them, and so it's not a super enjoyable film for me. So on the pretty much on the quality of the animation alone, it's getting a 6.
Yeah. You know, when you two were mentioning it doesn't have likable characters, it just reminded me, there's a reason why the poster is the bike.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's the best thing about the movie, like
Very
the best
true.
character.
Absolutely.
Jacob?
All right, so I'm giving this 8 solid gold medals.
Yeah.
Like animation, beautiful. Oh my gosh! Like you're looking at a film that brought anime into the mainstream in America, brought such a quality, rich quality that has not been met since animation wise.
Joy
You
and
have-
confusion to 8-year-olds everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. I mean, like being an artist, watching that at 8 years old, I'm like, whoa, what the fudge is this? I'm like, I'm intrigued. I'm encapsulated. I'm just enraptured by this movie, like animation wise.
And totally creeped out.
Yes, exactly. Completely creeped out. There again, be like, the story is not perfect. It's so confusing. You don't have the likable characters. I agree with you on that. It's people who live in a fallen world and have stopped caring for anything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sounds like life.
yeah, it sounds like life. It sounds like life. And the metaphor I use for with the idea of sin and the when I clinged onto that, and I was like, wow, okay, that makes it even a better movie. That it shows the growth of sin and how it can consume our lives and how it destroys our lives. And if we don't have Christ our Savior, we're toast.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'm absolutely giving this an 8. It is a milestone animation wise. That if you are a connoisseur of animation like I am and some other people are, be like, it should be in your collection.
On this podcast?
Huh?
You mean like everyone on this podcast?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, just like incredible. Absolutely movie that needs to be watched. Now, if you are under the age of 18, I would definitely be like, viewers discretion is advised watching this, but please watch this movie. It's amazing. It does have all these problems, but yeah, it is worth a watch at least once or twice to get the full spectrum of what's going on. Yeah.
Agreed.
So 8.
All right. And that brings us to the end of another episode of the Cellcast. Next time, we are, in a sense, staying in Japan, except it's actually a Western-made movie.
Really?
Yeah, you put Astro Boy on the list.
I did?
The 3D
You
animated
did.
one?
The 3D one.
Oh,
I
yeah,
like
that's
that with
right.
Nick Cage as the dad.
I mean, it's been a while since I've seen it, but I forgot. When I brought this up to see what the next one was, oh, he put Astro Boy on there. That's an interesting choice.
I totally forgot I put it on here.
Obviously, I can tell. I think we're entering the part where it's like, I need to put movies on here I've never seen before, otherwise I'll never watch them.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's where we entered your part of the
Yeah,
list.
there we go.
So, join us next week for that. Come, Jacob, we must prepare for next week.
Prepare for what, Drew?
The same thing we do every week, Jacob. Record a podcast!
Oh, boy.
Paul, Francisco, why don't y'all tell us where we can find more of y'all? Let's start with-
PaulJPowers.com. That's me. You can find all my social media links at PaulJPowers.com.
And you can find me on not at FranciscoXRuiz.com, though you'd think so, but no. But mainly you can find me on Twitter at FXRetro_, on Instagram at FXRuizX, on Facebook through the Retro Rewind Pod group. But mainly the main places to reach out to us, and the main thing I'd like to promote is go check out our podcast, Retro Rewind Podcast, at retrorewindpodcast.com. And we have over 230 episodes there for you to enjoy.
And both Drew and Jacob have been on.
Yes.
So go check that out.
Go check their episodes out.
Yes. That was a funny episode.
The Star Trek. See, I was on the Star Trek 6 episode, and then we were both on the
Kung Fu
Hustle.
Kung Fu Hustle.
Episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're welcome for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That was great.
All right, so
it was great having you guys on, but thank you for so much for having us on.
And it's been great having y'all on.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a blast.
We can't wait for the next time we can get y'all on here, or the next time we're on y'all's, whichever happens next.
Awesome.
All right, Astro Boy, here we come.
Or maybe a good Disney movie.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Those are hard to
Moana
come
does
by.
need to be done at some point.
You take that back, good sir.
Admittedly. I mean, I do own it. We haven't got it on the list yet. So
What
we'll
is
think
it?
about it. Moana.
Yeah.
We know how much Francisco loves that
Yeah,
movie.
exactly.
Or maybe
like
Frozen 2.
No.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I will not catch that. Never. You will never catch me on a podcast about Frozen 2. I don't care if it's 50 years or older.
Invite him on for Moana, but then
That would just be that'd be the opening skit is Frozen 2.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
Anyway, calm down, Jacob. We got to end this thing. In the meantime,
I am PaulJPowers.com.
and I am Francisco Ruiz, acting like PaulJPowers.com.
and this has been Drew,
This is Jacob.
and we'll catch you in the next frame.
So where can they find you, Jacob?
You can find me on Facebook at Jacob B. Heron, also on Facebook at Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where I try to draw each and every day. I don't get to it as often as I like, but join me there. Also, you can find me on Instagram at Jacob B. Heron, on Twitter at Jacob Heron, and Letterboxd at Jacob Heron. So where can they find you, Drew?
You can also follow me on Letterboxd at GGeorge759, Facebook as Drew Dodgen, my Facebook page where you can see pictures I've taken at Drew's Photo Bin. You can also follow me on Twitter at GGeorge759.
You can email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com.
You can also follow us on Twitter at cast_cell.
You can follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/thecellcastgaming.
You can also follow us on YouTube at Cellcast,
Listen to our podcast on Apple Podcasts,
Google Play Podcasts,
Stitcher,
Spotify.
and your favorite podcast directory.
You can also listen to us on the Movie of the Week podcast with Jim Heron, where we talk about live-action movies. And remember, Cell is a single L.
I still want my bike, eh?